On today's episode of Let's Talk FGO, we're back. No, I won't say it. I won't do the joke. I have a different joke for later. Anyway, we're going to talk to you about Mahoyo collab wrapping up, Strange Fate collab getting started soon, and would you know, there's a little rerun coming soon as well. All this and more on your one-stop shop, Let's Talk FGO. I am one of your hosts, Omega. With me as always is Lucky. I do not have any funny nicknames this week because we're just here to get back into the groove. Destroy some shoulders.
With that, though, I hope everyone is enjoying Fate Grand Order, aka the Strange Fate prediction betting is getting wild. And while we here at Studio Mega like to bring you the latest FGO-related news and memes, we will be talking about current and future events for both the JP and EN versions of the game, so anyone not wanting spoilers to remember that Sono G is a real one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And yes, this is our podcast, Let's Talk FGO. Brought to you by our wonderful, beautiful patrons and all of our listeners. More on that later. And I was going to make a crack about Here Every Week, but that is a really good segue into, hey, you're not crazy. We took a week off. Last week's show was a little lean. Nothing lean, but compared to the, big stonking episodes we've been having with, pre-games, breaking news and sudden stuff happening and obviously recapping a story drop, it was definitely a lot thinner. So we, do what we usually do, and we took a week off for news to accrue, and there does appear to be some decent news.
Huzzah.
We've also got your mailbag in mind, and a few What's Up Zone topics to talk about. But we'll run through all of that as we run through all the stuff. First of all, our regularly scheduled business. We check on everybody's favorite Kohai. Mash.
Senpai, 起きてください.
That's right, everybody. It's time for Wake the Fuck Up Senpai, regular 7 for pro tips. So, this week, I have a very simple one for you. If you're done with the event, don't forget, have a bleached earth. It's a very important, useful time to have. If you're not done with the event, you should probably hurry the fuck up. This has been
Hurry the fuck.
your segment for pro tips.
Sorry, it's just like, hurry the fuck up, Senpai. Your regular Senpai reminded me to do the event.
Yes. You've only got a few days left. You've got until the reset on the 20th. And then we're immediately going into a new thing. Obviously, it's a rerun, but, it's still a thing. And we'll explain how and why later. Next, Breakfast of the Throne, a regular achievement topic. Speaking of finishing the damn event, hey, 100 missions complete, 2 girls gotten, Sonoji Smile protected, NP5, all that beautiful stuff.
Ditto for Lucky. Like I said, it took me a little bit longer to get into it, and as I was working on things, but once I got going, boy, did it start going.
Now, I talked about this last show. Almost said last week. That's not correct. But last time we recorded, I did talk about this. I don't know what it is about the way this mission list is designed, but it felt like it went through, a very good pace. I had to do very little, heavy-duty farming between missions. And honestly, if I wasn't also doing other stuff on the side, I probably could have stayed, current enough that the time gates were actually stopping me as opposed to the missions. So, if you are behind, don't feel too bad. You should be able to clear it without too much effort, so long as you're willing to spend some apples in the waning days. Also, everybody, wait and hope. My final records for today. Through the power of weekly tickets, I got 1 Toko CE. And that's about as good as we've done this month.
Honestly,
we have a little time off.
Honestly, I mean, that's what I'm gonna have to be happy with. I'm just gonna be happy with the one I got. Be like, yes, good. Favorite it, love it forever.
A win's a win.
Like I said, my luck has been stupid good this event, so I don't want to tempt anything.
Yeah, no. We won't go over anything else. We'll see what's happening. But that means currently there's no evils. Lucky and I have just been chilling, doing follow-up on the event. Usually I do a few runs of the limited quest in the middle of the night because I'm up, and it does drop a lot of QP. But we'll be getting even more QP soon. Soon-P.
Soon-P. Sono-P.
There's several gags to be made there. I'm just going to save this thumbnail, though, and move on. But that takes us to, did you finish your master missions? This is updated for the new week. If you didn't finish your master missions last week, well, too bad. That's in the past. You're looking at now. Actually, that is funny, but I should mention that I did post the earliest teaser of it. But yeah, we have the official title for the upcoming Spaceball sequel. Mm-hmm. Spaceballs, the new one. And I know that it's not The Search for More Money, but in the teaser, Mel Brooks, who is 99 years old, by the way, he's going to be 100 when this movie comes out, said that it's, however many years ago they made the joke about The Search for More Money, and he's like, it's not the title, it's over. I found the money. pans to a duffel bag labeled Spaceballs, da money. And so I'm just like, okay, Mel Brooks, I'm okay. I'm good. I was going to be sad it's not called Spaceballs 2, the Search for More Money, but you got me.
Spaceballs, the merchandise.
Merchandising. God, just thinking about it. Spaceballs, the flamethrower. The kids love that one. Oh, God. I just hope we can keep it going, but they brought everybody back. I didn't realize it had been this long. Rick Moranis has been outside of acting, like he's been retired for like almost 20 years, I think, and he's coming back.
Yeah, no. I'm honestly really surprised he came back because I really thought he said he wanted to move away from acting to, be more of a family man and stuff, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, but it's gonna be funny. I think they have Bill Pullman's actual son.
Oh wow!
But I'm sure we'll talk more about Spaceballs as more news comes out because we do like Spaceballs here. One of our early movie nights. About the master missions. Honestly, they're pretty straightforward. I won't even say do the event. It's literally do anything. You need to defeat 5 servants and 10 servants. You need to defeat 3 chaotic servants. Defeat 15 enemies with the Earth attribute in general. And then get 15 EXP drops and then 30 EXP drops. So, do some dailies. Run the event. Get some stuff. You'll clear it. No problem. And that means it's time for Skelograms. Now this is the big one. There are quite a few of thems.
Thems.
As opposed to previously, which last week, where there would have just been 2 of thems. Twosomes. First, technically still ongoing, Witch on the Holy Night collaboration event. Free quest, backup, pickup, summon. Started the 5th, ends the 19th. Yes, that's right. We're still doing this. I think we can say for the foreseeable future, there will always be a bonus extra banner in EN.
I wonder why.
Yeah, I don't know. Is it maybe it's because fewer players, rolling less, different time? I don't know. Maybe they tried it out as a goof and they're successful. I don't know. Anyway, for Witch on the Holy Night collab, it's a Karen and Suna rate up plus CE. So that's giving you a ruler and a saber. Now, in JP, we also still ongoing, have the 34 million downloads campaign. Started the 8th, goes into the 22nd. During this time, you're getting to log in for stuff all the way up to 1 lore and 30 Saint Courts straight up. There are now permanent master missions based on your Grand Duel clearance for more Saint Quartzes and stuff. Limited time missions to clear story up to Ordeal Call 4 for Saint Quartzes and stuff. The usual increased Da Vinci shop stock. There's a couple of new CEs. I actually forgot to take a note about these specifically. Let me go to the wiki and pull up which ones they are as well. But also, you got half AP on dailies and all open. You got double suck chance. Summer Scotty is an NPC support in dailies, and your banners are Summer Scotty, Yang Guifei, Tiamat, Dolman, and Space Ishtar. So, all kinds of stuff going on. So, let me see about the CEs added. Okay. Yeah, so we've got Chosen One, which features Roche and the Golems. Kitchen in the Backyard is arts performance and critical damage. I presume that's got Julius from Extra on it. I presume that's replacing the other one that's got it. I don't remember. And a Ronnie CE, Tsukimahara Student Council Treasurer. So rotating in some new CEs as usual to replace old CEs. Yeah, okay, so he's on Sweeper is the one I'm thinking of with Julius. So they're gonna remove Sweeper. Not Sleeper, and Only Believe in the God I Worship, about that guy who worships Ark. They're going to get them out of there, and they're going to add the new CEs. Next, in JP as well, we have the Strange Fate collab pre-release campaign, the official Prius releases, starting the 15th, ending the 29th. I'm not exactly sure. Chat, I'm sure, will let me know when the stream is, if they've announced it. But the pre-release is starting. Log in for St. Quartz's, Apples, MP, and QP. We also have our bonus servant list. I just put it as a note because there's actually okay, it's next Saturday. All right, thank you. This does just require a Fuyuki clear, so the list of bonus servants is mega huge. So, we have Saber Giles. Actually, we have both Gileses. Julius Caesar, Benny Enma, Jason. Is that both? Yeah, both Gareth, so Summer and Not Summer. Richard, obviously. Emiya. Gil. Arash. Let's see. There's regular Orion, and there's Super Orion, so 2 Orions. Kid Gil. Actually, is every Gil in here? Yeah, okay. We also got Castor Gil, so it looks like every Gil. Ishtar, Ptolemaios, Enkidu Ab, Bhima, Boudica, both Marthas. Actually, all 3 Marthas, I think. Let's see, Summer Martha? Yeah, so Summer, Christmas, and normal Martha. Renez, Konstantinos, Hans, Billy Shakes, Waver, Kirki. I think every Hassan. Let's see, it's Cursed Arm, 100 Personas, Serenity, Gramps, Star. Yeah, I think that's all of them. Gray, Jack the Ripper, assassin version, regular Hercules, Tezcatlipoca, specifically Tamamo Cat, again, for some reason, Penth, Qinshi Wong, Johanna, Space Ishtar, both Dantes, both Jufus, Rasputin, Typhon, and Mash. So, every servant we already have who is directly related to Strange Fake, including pseudos, people you would probably expect from that, and then a bunch of other extra shit. Like, what the fuck is Bhima doing here? I don't know. What's Constantine and Johanna doing here? Again, curious. No, it's a big, huge list. Like, again, some of them make sense. All the Hassanases, we've got that. Okay, cool, that tracks. But, like, specifically just Kirki?
I believe that's probably going to be related to Hercules and Argonaut stuff, because Jason's on there, isn't he?
Yeah, Jason's on here. But interestingly, no Medea or Medea Lily. We do have Penth, though, so you never know if Hippolyta will show up. I also want to say, based on this list, I kind of feel like this is also secretly the Case Files collab, too.
I mean,
with Ptolemaios and Typhon on here as well.
I mean, the authors are, like, best friends. I would not be surprised.
Yeah. So there's all kinds of interesting characters here. Like, I really like this list. It'll be interesting to see, like, how many characters actually show up, or how many are some people in our Discord have talked about already, the kind of, like, suspicious substitute, right? Like, we have Edmond Dantes, because, of course, those are related to, Alexandre Dumas. But we do also have the other 2 authors, so I really hope that a Bronze Dumas is incoming. But we also have authors, to sub in for him if he isn't. But also it'd be really cool if he would hang out with Hans and Shakes. Like, we have, Assassin Jack. Is that going to be a sub in for Berserker Jack? Or is it going to be, because Berserker Jack can be Assassin Jack? Yeah, all the Marthas is another one that I'm kind of like, I'm not sure about. She is a writer. She is a Dragon Slayer. We don't got any other Dragon Slayers in here.
She's a saint, which I think might be the point.
It's true, she is a saint. That might be important.
Because I'm pretty sure Castor and Saber Giles is there for the relation to Francois.
Yes.
But there's
interesting that considering Perlati, there's no vanilla, no Artorias at all.
Yeah.
And no Jeans. Gareth is here because specifically the fake Richard in Singularity 5 defeated Gareth. Or it was like a mutual kill. So that kind of, we've talked before, that seems to be a thing we're going with. That's also probably why Arash is here, to be related to Singularity 5 stuff. Tom Mocat, I genuinely couldn't tell you.
I'm okay with that. Give me just more Tom Mocat time. Guys, I have a level 120 Tom Mocat. It's going to be amazing just to throw that in my fucking support list.
No, like, amazing. She's a great pick. It's just one of those things that's like, I don't know why she's in, though. I mean, we've got Boudica and Emiya, so, like, are we doing a kitchen team thing? That is the kitchen team. Wait,
honestly, it might.
Does this mean Dumas is gonna come? Are we gonna get him big American burgers?
Like, honestly, now that you mentioned that the Boudica Emiya cat thing, no, because we gotta remember, collabs aren't always serious things. Well, they can be serious, but there's usually a lot of jokes in there too.
There's usually a lot of in-jokes, and I feel like we've talked about this before, right? Like, Strange Fake as a property is, like, super self-referential, and Narita is writing it himself, so I would assume it's going to be packed with FGO-specific in-jokes.
No. Actually, mentioning that actually reminds me of something that I'm actually curious about. I'm wondering if, like, when we start writing, like, future Fate works and stuff, are we going to start having references to, like, the Master of Chaldea as, like, nods and a reference?
Oh, I would be certain that we're probably, like, if any of the FGO characters show up later, they are absolutely going to talk about, like, incidents in Chaldea, like singularities or lost belts, shit like that. And I would bet that, I mean, officially, at the very least, post Incineration of Humanity, the master is, ranked a cause.
Mhm.
So that would absolutely be a thing for, like, to come up, in continuities.
Also, you are right. Bima is
is a cook. That's true. But like I said, most of these I can kind of follow along. Others I'm not sure. Like, but also, it's like, even though I don't have one, I'm like, will I say no to more Tezcatlipoca? No, it's a great guy to have show up. Let's see, do we have no? We don't have an official subtitle for the event, so I know that it seemed to be related to specifically Singularity 5 stuff, but it's interesting to see, the Trom crews back a little. We got a couple of them.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, others, like I said, are just, like, absolutely just, make perfect sense. Like, yes, of course, every single Hassan we have will show up. Of course Ishtar is here. Same with, like, Zhufu and Qin Shi Huang is like, yeah, that tracks. Actually, some of our people may not get it. If you don't get it, the weird thing inside the crossbow, their name is supposed to mean, like water monster or something. That's specifically what Zhufu told, Qin Shi Huang was guarding the Tree of Immortality.
Like, with so many references in the frickin', like, the sport list, it's really hard to kind of exactly narrow down what may or may not happen.
Yeah. So, like, it is just like you said in the intro of just like, yeah, no, there's a lot of these guys. I don't know what we'll be referencing. But to continue on from there, all of these bonus servants during this pre-release period are getting double suck chance, 20% bond up, and half AP on rank ups and interludes, if they have them. The special Strange Fake related commemorative CEs, Visitor and Stranger, are going to be in the Da Vinci shop now. There is a special My Room background for the Opera House, the theater, and there is a Gil Enkidu banners! Who could have guessed? It's Mr. Jimmy Rate-Up.
Jimmy Rate-Up?
Sorry, I'm wondering if this is this has got to be like an error. This is like for Halloween. The wiki, like, I think has the wrong lists for people with the half AP. They've got like last Halloween's template for some reason, and I don't know why. But yeah, so like I said, half AP for everybody, special event. And then we move to EN, because we got our EN news just the other night announced. First of all, they are announcing the Event Revival Celebration campaign, part 1 of which, of 4, starts the 20th and ends the 10th. There was some rampant speculation a few days ago about whether or not we would be getting the Strange Fate collab early, and I'm like, I don't know, that seems a little crazy. And then, obviously, there are a couple of units in the bonus list that we do not have access to, being 2 years early. And it kind of seems like it would be a bad idea to put a brand new collab right after another brand new collab that was also a double banner collab. And we're all hoping this is also a double banner collab, at least.
We need so many servants this collab. You guys do not understand. You actually know,
but
that's a lie. You guys do understand.
We absolutely require a welfare is required. We're really looking for an FP servant, and then 2 banners worth of boys. Give me 5 stars and 4 stars. Come on, gimme. Not to mention, knowing the way JP is, I would not be shocked if there's a shitload of the servants in this list. Like we said, several of these guys are going to end up on raid ups too. JP loves raid ups, but yeah. Instead, we are indeed getting our reruns. Possibly a little more. Like I said, it's a 4-part campaign, only the first part of which they're announcing. I saw some people comment that they're not sure how to feel about the fact that we did not get to vote on it. Me personally, I can see them skipping the polling. Obviously, the EN server overall has a smaller player count, like a fewer download count, and also is not always engaging on social media. Everybody remember to thank your, JP bros for helping us out with social media campaigns. Quite a lot of Japanese accounts go out of their way to do the Twitter campaigns for social media and stuff. Help us out with that free St. Quartz. But there's the sheer fact that I'm almost certain that the reruns wouldn't change because I don't know. So the reason why this Caldea Summer, spoilers, it's Caldea Summer Adventure is the rerun. They've also announced that as well as the first part. That one is picked because the treasure chests mechanic means you get a shitload of QP and mats, right?
Yeah.
It's a very rewarding event. And then the arcade collab was picked because we all knew that Draco was going to be a quite limited servant. She wasn't showing up in normal GSSRs and stuff. And Tiamat was also super expected. So a highly anticipated event to score an extra rate up. I don't know if the English server would pick different events. What's another event that would be like rare banners and high-level rewards? I shrug. Not to mention that if we picked different events, they would have to adjust a lot of shit and write new code. But for the revival campaign, they're launching some master missions related to participating in the rerun and stuff to get up to 6 Saint Quartz, QPs, EXPs, and foes. I wrote that's double XP, but that's wrong. I think that's double suck chance for summer servants, because they're all bonus servants. So everybody gets double suck chance to your level up. And we are adding, this is where we're adding the brand new roadmap feature. So you will be able to check the roadmap in a story chapter to see what will be given to you total for clearing a chapter. So you don't need me to do the math for you. You can just click on a new story chapter and see. It should list how much Saint Quartz, how many frags, what kind of materials you're going to get, and so on. So that's a great quality of life to let you actually tabulate what kind of rewards you got coming. And specifically, we are talking about the Caldea Summer Reventure Revival. That's, Boy Pursuing Dreams, Girl Who Dreams. It's a big egg event, steggy event, beautiful time. But we are proceeding apace despite concern. They have warned us there will be one additional 90++ free quest, but otherwise this event will be the same. But also, don't rest on your laurels. It is stated that if you've already cleared this event, you can get a second Grail. So yes, even if you've already cleared, there is a Grail at the end of this, which is good. We love Grails. And also, they've announced what the first 2 banners will be. There will be the Okitan Anastasia Corday banner and the Achilles Mandricardo banners. So, pretty expected stuff. I don't remember what the title of that episode was, because it's over 2 years ago, but we have done an episode with a pregame and summary and all that stuff. So you can feel free to dig into the archives and check it out. But that, I believe, is the news.
The news. Thank you very much. So, with that, we are going to move on to this week's Let's Talk FGO Mailbag, the segment where we read what you have to say and comment accordingly. We're a little light for 2 weeks. We only have... Let me do one last refresh. Six lovely comments, but I appreciate every single one of them, and we'll get through them all, starting at the top. This first one comes from Monster Girl Aficionado, who says, Dear Loki and Omega, no question this week, just sending good vibes, wah 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 wah, and wishing you well, keep up the great work, P.S. do your PvP ladder, P.P.S. only 2 weeks until FanFace, I do believe that is 1 week now. We actually did just have our live letter from the producer this morning. Had to be up at 4 a.m. to watch that shit. So
yeah, I
there's
still
a
watch
lot
the
of
whole thing because it's 4 hours.
It's 4 hours, and there's a lot of faff and talk in there. But no, Final Fantasy XIV doing good. Next week, again, we should be getting our first teaser of the new expansion, perhaps with a title. I do not think they'll be revealing classes initially. I think they'll save that for the second and third FanFest.
Yeah,
I believe that's what they did for Dawn Trail.
But according to the handy-dandy time feature of Discord, thanks for adding that, 8 hours after not 8 hours, 8 years after I needed it, Discord. We used to have a robot for that. But, yes, the big keynote of the Fan Fest will be next Friday in about a week, and it will be at 1 p.m. for me, so our next recording should be after the keynote.
Yes. So we'll have whatever is happening there. It's going to be very exciting. I believe they blocked out about 2 hours for the keynote, which is going to be interesting. They've also detailed our patch cycle. We are going to be on our quote-unquote last patch. It's just going to be split into part 1 and part 2. So we do not have to get necessarily even more crazy. But
yeah, it's a big chunky patch. I think I understood it correctly, but Sokun may have said that he did as much music for 7.5 as he did for 7.0 base.
Maybe.
I think he said something like that.
I think we we are doing a lot of things. But also, yes, we're if we're getting 2 MSQs in this one patch, I can kind of understand it. So, no, I am working on my PvP ladder. I think I just hit rank 20 in my front lines earlier, 21. As long as I keep along this pace, I should be good. I will not have to do, down to the wire fucking CC runs.
Which is good. I hate doing that. I'm also cleared, so I'm good. Even though I could always use a few more trophy crystals, but I did purchase a new set of universal gear.
Oh, I am curious though. They did show off like new mounts and stuff, and one is the Rocket Fist from like the Omega Rings. I'm like, how do I get that?
Yeah, it's gonna be a good one. I really hope the special bike is just for Hildebrand.
I'm hoping so.
I mean, we got the spoilers. Cover your ears, everybody. But we got the UFO from the last set.
It's true.
So I'm hopeful. But they're showing a lot of cool stuff. Well, I have a note for it in our WhatsApp, so we can run through some of the other stuff because there's It's so funny that like obviously there's huge hype. We're getting a big sizzle reel trailer about story events that are like setting up new shit. And we're like, oh yeah, hell yeah, that's cool. And then also they spoil us all these little like quality of life stuff, like just like yes, from the crafting window you can accept accept party invites and stuff now.
It's such little shit, but it's one of those things that you go like, oh yeah, no, that is a fucking pain sometimes. 1 second.
Yeah, sorry about that. I was 1 seconded myself because I was talking about something in a separate channel.
But let's move on. This next one comes from the Tyrant King taking his time and going semi-serious through Pokemon Champions. But to say, hey guys, with summer vibes now starting to pop up, now's the time to ask the age-old question of who do you think will get a swimsuit this year for FGO, and could old one get one? Or do you think it's slightly out of reach? Anyway, that's it for me. Send good vibes your way. Wah, 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 wah. And hope you have a good evening. Well, honestly, Olga's first Ascension, I do not believe has the summer tag, but it's very summery. But also, it's only been a year since she released. I don't think they usually give servants... I don't think we've had a servant get a 1-year turnaround on a swimsuit, I don't think.
Not quite. I mean, personally, I would say this, especially because of the way like all the free courts lined up. I know she technically has a costume already. I'd really like to see her just get a summer costume,
Yeah, no, I think that'd be good.
To kind of,
like I said,
work through all the levels.
I already know I'm throwing down for, Madame Perez when she arrives, so...
And hopefully with that fucking 1,000 sync quartz.
Yeah. But, well, let's see, who's still on the list? Like, I got my summer TM, Matt. We got,
I am no longer asking. I am demanding. Avenger, Lancer Artoria Alter.
Summer.
Swimsuit. With extra wild hunt.
I do think it is actually very important. There's... Like, even in FGO, we're making jokes about the lack of, summer of, Lancer Alter content.
Also, I mean, is there a not a saber face, but an Artoria left to make a summer of? They did, double, or XA, and double X, and we got Castoria, so, like, if it's summer Logres, I think I gotta go crazy. I might have to lose my mind. Also, that would be like a 6-month turnaround, so incredibly unlikely.
So Lancer Alter, we still need. I still think people are crying for a Medusa Summer, but who knows? Maybe we'll get a Saber Medusa Summer, very specifically.
Yeah, I think that would be a good fit because Saber Medusa is supposed to be kind of more fashionable in there.
Yeah.
For costumes, I want to put down the big one, gang. I want to give a thought. Richard summer costume.
I feel like it has to be.
Like I feel like that would be a good match. That would be a way to get Richard in an event outside of the collab, because obviously he has not shown up in FGO, previously. He's been chilling.
Like I said, I'm still waiting for a Koyanskaya summer.
Summer Koyan would be good. Sorry, I tried to chuckle to myself because I was just like, Enkidu's genderless. We could do summer Enkidu. But also, what would you even do? Because Enkidu just wears a fucking, a sheet, a bed sheet. Scuba suit. That might be a little too gag heavy, but I wouldn't hate it. I
wouldn't mind. I don't care if it's the full servant or costume, but I would like a summer Stovall just to see what we fucking do finally.
That'd be a pretty good one. Elizabeth still doesn't have a summer yet, right?
No, we have no Liz Summer.
Maybe that might be a funny one, especially after the Elizabeth of the End event.
No, clearly it is time for Summer Cuckoo.
That would be. It has been
Like-
been a few years.
I think
That
now
could be it. It could be Cuckoo Stonks.
No, like because we got I cannot pronounce her fucking name. The city.
Tenochtitlan.
Tenochtitlan. I think now is the time for Summer Cuckoo.
Yeah, they've kind of peppered out the LB7 stuff across a couple. Obviously, for the LB6 themed summer, Tezcatli Poco was still in the back of the Serva Fez rerun, and then you've got Tenochtitlan. But no, you could easily do Summer Cuckoo. Like, she's a foreigner for very obvious reasons, but Summer. There's no rules in Summer. She could easily be a berserker or a rider or a ruler. There's all kinds of things we could do.
So again, we still got a few months. Oh god, let's see. Will we be getting that? Like July after Annie? Yeah.
Yeah. Usually, like, one of the days during FGO Fez, they will show the first banner. Not like animations, but they'll show some pictures. So yeah, that'd be late July.
But we shall see.
Wait, no, I have one more guess.
Oh, I'm guessing. I'm hearing.
We've with the advent last year of Summer Shiki, and we got a seal. That leaves there's 2 type moon heroines left then who don't have summers.
Oh man, are you thinking Summer AOKO?
Yeah, a Summer AOKO and or a Summer Arc. I don't know. I don't think any of Phantasmoon's Ascensions are summer themed.
I will only accept Summer AOKO if fucking Toko's the anniversary servant.
I mean, that's what I'd like, but
that way we can give Toko a fucking an Ascension 2 swimsuit and call it good.
I mean, that would cover the genres of Toko. You could have short hair, long hair, swimsuit.
But all right. So moving on from that, thank you very much. This next one comes from Follower of Concealment. It says, "Hey guys, I just finished the new Dresden Files books and have 2 thoughts that need your opinion. First, are Max one of the big ones like Mr. Sunshine? Doubt normal ones can take a holiday. And secondly, when Dresden has to talk with himself in his mind, are those really his or a fair shadow for Mirror Mirror? Oh, but that's all for now. Sending good vibes and a happy weekend." I have still not listened to 12 months. I am horrible about this, so I'd have to probably defer to you, Omega, mostly, but I could definitely say, like, probably, Dresden talking to himself, that could be something for Mirror Mirror, could be the base of it, but I also think that, the self he talks to is just maybe a representation of his more darker and base desires.
Yeah, I don't know if it's supposed to be a wizard thing specifically, but he is, I'm pretty sure, supposed to be literally conversing with himself because, higher powers and all that, and also it's a really good metaphor. It's probably a setup for Mirror Mirror because, like, Jim Butcher has been setting up Mirror Mirror for, like, I don't know, as fucking long as I've been in the fandom, and I think I got in, like, right around Turncoat or Changes.
I don't remember when I got in.
So,
but
like,
no, Dark Dresden's been in there since freaking Stormfront, so...
Yeah. As for Mac, I mean, there's only so many Archangels to go around, but I truly do not know, and I'm sure it will come up in time.
Max might just be a strange old dude.
The books definitely imply that he is formerly a supernatural heavy hitter, but he is very specifically neutral, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
In the sense of, like, power scaling.
It's all like, you come to his place, you get some food, you pick up your own damn food, you eat it.
You drink the beers are the temperature he gives them to you, and that's it. I mean, I'll say this at least for Mac. He has to be somebody who's cool enough for Dresden to give him, the placard of Christ and for him to write "tips please" on it. But yeah, no, he's just chilling.
Oh, let's see here. So moving on. This one comes from Alice Banner was a bust. They say, "Howdy, Lucky Omega. Hope you're having a good week. Question: now that we are post OC2, I want to know if either of you have any theory on what the question that needs answered would be for the theoretical foreigner ordeal call, because the ordeal calls have made us answer fundamental questions about the extra classes, so which do you think said question could be? P.S. I did 180 pack plus 1 extra multi that I gathered from free cards and used tickets from the event, and all that I got was a Rama as the only gold servant, so yeah, my rolls have been decent sometimes. Got AOKO and Countermeasure Crystal with my free state cards I could scrape together, but very cursed other times, such as the Alice and Marie altar banners where I got very little gold servants, period." I mean, that's the gotcha. They give it, then it take it. And also, honestly, with the theoretical foreigner ordeal call, I don't think it's necessarily a question that we needs to be answered with foreigners, because foreigners, like, by their purest definition, are something outside human understanding. Like, there is no question to be answered. But like I said, we are in Nossoverses and we like fucking with the rules. Like, it could be less than, a question of, what they are and is, and maybe they just, try to shove something in our head. Maybe do some mental contamination. Like I said, like, foreigners... Sorry.
Yeah, the class scale that defines foreigners is existence outside the domain, so that should be pretty straightforward. I don't know if we really, like... I mean, it could end up being a little more on the alter ego ordeal call side, where we kind of understood what we were getting at before, but, we built a thought experiment to really play it out for the people in the back. But I don't think we need to define exactly what, the human domain is, because that is supposed to be at least what we're all about. The domain is supposed to be part of the human order. But there's definitely, like, I think questions about what is outside the domain and, like, what that looks like that we could ask questions about, because, there are several things which are considered there. Like, there are plenty of straight-up aliens, obviously, but then there's also, Joshin, evil gods, which are supposed to be, the stand-in for, like, old ones type stuff. And then there's, alien entities which aren't commented on in other parts of the Fate franchise, but they're also, I don't fucking know. Like, because we've never gotten, like a example of Safar, say this for FGO, we've never personally had to take on the White Titan. But, like, would the Velber count in that sense? Like, probably, but those two continuities don't really, cross over. Every time we've heard of or run into the White Titan, it's always been, post facto. So, like, I don't know. There are, like you said, I don't know if there's, like, a fundamental question that has to be answered to explain foreigners, because I think we kind of got that in Salem when they first showed up, but there are definitely questions about their relationship with humanity and human order that's interesting. Like, why did the barrier, like, writing-wise, right, why did the barrier of humanity not care about our relationship with foreigners, ultimately? Is it because they're outside humanity anyway? Or is it because the foreigners are technically, they're linked to something outside, but are themselves also usually quite human? Barring those of them from the Servant Universe, as we all know, the Servant Universe doesn't count.
Oh, excuse me. Alright, but I think that's enough on that. So we'll move on. The next one comes from Alalis. Missed Alice, but got AOKO and Toko at least. AOKO and Toko, excuse me.
Alalis,
They say, howdy! Howdy, Lucky Omega. Hope you're having a great week. Question. This is probably going to be a tough one because I know there's a lot of options, so a handful of answers work as well. As for the question, what is your favorite mount in Final Fantasy XIV? Funnily enough, this is not a hard one. This is actually a very easy one. My favorite is Spectral Statis, the mount that you get from completing all routes in Alo Alo Island. She is a boss in there and is absolutely adorable. I love her to bits. But yes, she is basically a blue and white fairy that is not really that much bigger than you, but will, pick you up, like, will grab you from behind and fly around with you. If you see me in our Final Fantasy XIV teams, you have probably seen her.
Yeah. Carries you the same as the Machina hand style.
Yeah.
Oh boy, do I have a favorite? I mean, I feel like in my case, mine is more broad, just because I feel like my favorite mounts are usually the boss ones, which play music, because the music themes are so good. Mm-hmm. If you've ever been, speaking of watching our streams, if you've ever watched our streams and seen me, like, do donuts on a mount, it's probably because I'm just listening. It's like if I get the Ramu horse and it's just, listen, I love, Thunder Rolls. The opening of that one with, like, the one-woman whale takes so fucking long to get to the cool parts. You just gotta take a couple extra laps,
Like, there's a lot of other mounts that I really enjoy. Like, I am generally a motorcycle fiend. Like, I have, like, both, I have, like, several Garland motorcycles on my hotbar. I also have, the, SDS Fenrir, on there, too. That's, Cloud's bike from Advent's Children. I'm already staring at the fucking Hardy Daytona on the ship. I was like, God. Also, I also have a sweet spot in my heart for the Chocobo carriage, because that is technically the first mount that you ever see in game.
It's true.
Because it's quite nice. I also generally like the dragons as well. I have the Mecha Dragon too, it's just funny to have the Mecha Dragon though. It's so silly.
No, there's a lot of funny ones. I mean, also, talking about there's some fun collab ones as well. Torgal, very fun.
Torgal is very fun.
Press button to pet.
No, collecting mounts and minions is something that I do very much enjoy in Final Fantasy XIV, and it's generally one of the reasons why I do like content as I do is because I'm trying to get more things. There's been like a lot of discussion over like the past decades about what motivates gamers to like complete content, and generally I can say it's generally along like 4 axes. It's usually like exploration, collection, combat / challenge, and the narrative. Generally, you engage with a video game based on like those 4 axes, and they're not like mutually exclusive. You can be like high and low on multiple of them, but for me, collection is usually very high. I like collecting things. No, and Final Fantasy XIV does like scratch that dick. It's like why I freaking knocked out the Merchant's Tale not too long ago. It's why I'm doing joining parties, trying to get my extreme trials done. I just got my first set of wings, actually. I'm very, very excited about that. Nice.
Yeah, honestly, you reminded me that I mentioning Aloe Island, I'm like, oh yeah, that's the one I've done the least of so far. I think I have like 1 in that. I need to finish off. Oh my god, I've forgotten the name of the middle one, even though I really like it. The temple. Mount Rokon?
I think it's Mount Rokon, yeah.
Yeah. That one I just like the vibes of. Honestly, as funny as it sounds, I think the other reason why I stopped doing Mount Rokon runs was I did and redid a few of them because that was a Moogle Tombstone with a bunch of other people. I was their Moogling Sherpa for an Ultimog, and then I was just like, okay, I put it down for a little bit. I need to finish up that one because I like that a lot. But I need to work on Aloe Island as well.
Alright, but let's move on to last but not least. This one comes from Agent 418 who says, hello, Lucky and Omega. Have a good weekend, y'all. I will try.
Do our best.
Do our best. Alright, so that is Mailbag. Thank you everyone so much for your submissions. Look forward to seeing what we get next week.
Alright. Then, let us take a quick intermission and then jump to Call Day of Free Talk. Alrighty. Back after our little break ski. No time for you at all, of course. Though, I don't know. Judging how YouTube's ability to sense audio is going, they might be able to tell that I said the word, let's take a break, and then auto-insert an ad right there. Who knows? The transcripts they do are auto-captions are okay. Anyway, we're in Call Day of Free Talk. First up, let's do final impressions, because it is almost over, for the Mahoyo Collab story event story. It was pretty good, TM.
It was pretty damn good. I shed some tears. I laughed a lot.
No, I mean, we all started by making jokes based on the pip count, the hypothetical page count, that it was like, oh, you can tell this is a Nasu event. But also, I think you can tell it's a Nasu written event because the heart of it really comes through, which is you've got some goofs, you've got some gags, some things are pretty cool, and then, you feel some stuff. Only Mr. Nasu could hit me in the final act with the hey, what's your one unique wish? Oh, I really wanted her to be number 1 idol. Just like,
it was
what
so
in
good.
Yeah, it's great. It was so like genuine, authentic, but I also felt like I think it worked partially so well because it feels like it comes out of fucking nowhere. I mean, not completely nowhere because there are some comments about like the posters in the inn, but like it feels like such a plot point that just
at the beginning.
It just comes up out of nowhere, and I'm just like, what in the Yakuza side story? Like, you just fucking side swipe me, and then, of course, it turns into, like a really badass moment where we're just like, we have all this conversation about the wish, and then, Vice Prez just comes back, and he's just like, hey, dumbass, you're wrong, because I wish for that too.
Only happened because fucking AOKO literally kicked the singularity down 2 years. Ugh. By the way, AOKO fucking Aozaki fucking kicking singularities. Jesus.
She is a magician, so she's immensely OP, but also we make up for it with just like her own, I won't even say stupidity, her own goofpidity.
She's a gorilla. She's a fucking buster gorilla, literally.
True, actually, yeah. That is actually a comment about her character, is that the one thing she's a genius at is destruction. So the only thing she has going for her, besides her unusual time abilities that she barely understands, is pure force.
And it relates to her character well, because while she talks like a rich lady, she's fucking kind of a menace.
Yeah.
In the best and worst ways.
I wrote this when I did her Wanted now several weeks ago, but it was an interesting fact that I think is in her FGO profile, and it's mirrored in her like description in Mahoyo, but AOKO is described as a person you think is like tries to appear like she's an easygoing, flawless genius, but actually has to work really hard to be that good.
Mm-hmm. Like
she's not afraid to put her nose to the grindstone in that sense. It's just that what that looks like is going to be different from other people. The effortless one among the team is actually Alice.
Yeah. Honestly, like, this event was actually really good for showing all three of the characters and the relationship. Like, actually getting to play with Sonoji, I didn't realize just how many attacks wasn't Sonoji, like, Shizuki attacking. No, it was Alice and AOKO attacking off screen. I'm like, oh, that's so amazing. I love it. I really feels like it highlights...
attacks are just, this shooting. It's great. Because, like, he's a pretty tough guy. I think, like, I'm pretty sure he's supposed to be from the same sect that taught,
Sojiro.
Yeah,
Not Sojiro. Sojiro. Yeah, Sojiro.
Medea's second master.
Yes.
Punchman. Jimmy Punchman. Like with his, secret assassin style. So, there's some stuff going on there that's very interesting. But yeah, no, they do a great stuff with their relationship and, really interesting stuff with kind of like all the kind of like backstory elements going on, between all three of them. And then also like kind of like, leaving it to chance or leaving it unexplained exactly what it is, because like the epilogue kind of hints at maybe a different sort of order of events kind of a thing, but also leaving you room for different aspects of like their relationship, because the revolving door of AOKO's I think is very good, because like it's very comedic, but also like again kind of talking about how AOKO doesn't actually like not try. Like I can't imagine how weird it has to be to show up somewhere and realize that like, oh, I was here already. Oh, I died. A different me died. But it's okay. It doesn't count. Oh shit, I'm dead over there. Whatever. Doesn't count. And just move on,
some people thought that the gag was getting old, but I loved it every single fucking time. And I just like how like nonplussed everyone gets by like, the third one.
Yeah, and then of course I think it works great because it has to keep going. It has to be every day, because the ultimate payoff is us realizing, wait a minute, this should be solved. Oh no. And like they make it work with kind of like explaining 1-1 and like it's AOKO is like taking the bullet for an evil curse because it's supposed to be like a doppelganger thing,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I do like all the little jokes about who's there for what, right?
Oh, yeah.
Like, only I think Ishtargen actually gets what she desires. You can argue that AOKO might get her shoulders destroyed. I don't know.
I think it was the shoulder pain destroying one, because they mentioned that the wishing star was, instead of getting, 5 stars, it only got 2 stars, so it only granted 2 wishes.
Yeah. And of course, again, talking about like the way we go, we like everybody turns to her and is like, what did you call it, the shoulder destroying spring? And she's like, well, I don't know. I'm not that AOKO anymore, but I assumed that I thought that I had had a job well done and I was gonna get my shoulder pain destroyed. But like I genuinely wasn't expecting it, and I will say, since the event has passed, I feel like my immediate sensation of like, man, I really need to play Mahoyo has like faded back down to a normal, like, I really do need to play Mahoyo sometime. Like, it doesn't feel quite the same, but like I am genuinely curious. Are the secondary characters as involved, Like,
yeah, no, they actually, like, the vice president said, like, that his wife was someone that AOKO knew. So I'm like,
So it's gotta be a supporting character, probably. That was also another great twist where like everybody's like, talking about it and and Mash is like, oh, so you were sneaking off every day, and he's like, correct, I was on the phone with my wife.
No, like, this writing is so good. Like, I love it so much. Honestly, I do think the Mahou collab has probably been propelled to, like, my number one collab right now, just because the writing is so good. Guys, the final battle, oh god, it made me cry. You're just in the black and white, you know, the music starting, and then the fucking color comes on, the music swells, and AOKO unleashes her full self. Ugh!
Yeah, and she's
it's
just
so
like,
good.
okay, I can finally be real, and then just, for the first time in the actual, like, story AOKO can do Unfinished Blue.
No, it was so good.
And the
music,
visuals
the
of the stars, and, like, it's such a Nasu premise of, like, I mean, this is Nasu, the guy who wrote Fate's Day Night, which has an Evil Wish Granting cup already. But, like, him to take a folktale about wish granting and, like, turn it into, and yeah, it's like a machine gone awry. It's like, we're looking for, the number one wish, and it's like, well, it's inherently flawed, because how would you determine what a number one wish is? It would have to be the only wish left in the world, as we just see, spiraling wishes in the background getting, literally crushed into stardust, and it's just like, wow, that's real fucked up. Very good stuff. I saw some people kind of like, I don't think seriously, like not like deal breakery, but some people kind of complaining that they're like, oh, what are these spoilers for Mario sequels in this collab event? But I'm kind of like, but Nasu hasn't written the sequels yet. Like, it's he's the author, so like he can reference things he hasn't gotten to yet. First of all, it's Nasu. Kinoku Nasu, number one author I know who will, like, put an idea on the shelf and just let it sit there for a little bit, like, he's absolutely the kind of guy to, like, put in a little note about, like, the Third Ascension, Evil Alice, or, whatever the hell is actually supposed to be going on with Suzuki's, NP, and just be like, that's a surprise tool I'll need for later. Looking at you, Primate Murder, which I think was, like, one text box in Tsukihime. Like I said, I just saw a couple of people on Twitter and a few other spaces kind of be like, feeling like, oh man, there are some Fate fans who are kind of always in that position of being like, oh man, I wish Nasu wasn't working on this thing. I wish he was working on this other thing, like wishing he would be freed from the FGO prison to write, the next half of the Tsukihime remake or the Mahoyo sequel or whatever. But it's like, it's not quite like that. Like, he's not an FGO prison because, Lasengel and Aniplex and Sony are breathing down his neck. He took it upon himself to, kind of like elevate FGO, which, if you guys don't recall, FGO started very low quality, like overall. Like, the stories were rougher, the gameplay had a lot. We talked a lot about, and we spent a lot of time kvetching correctly about, like, the way the difficulty curve in this game's gotten real fucked up, and, the way gacha and, like, the pull rates and pities and shit is, God knows you guys have heard me bitching and moaning about 4-star CEs specifically for probably 5 years, if not 8 years, or almost 9 years now, right? JP Launch FGO was bad. I think you needed 40 Saint Quartz to do a 10 pull. There was no bond levels, so there was no bond CEs, there was no bond rewards, none of that shit. Or if there was, it capped out at 5, so there was no extra Saint Quartz. It was just the unlocking their profiles, and no bond CEs for sure. Yeah, some servants didn't have all 3 skills, shit like that. And again, not that I hate it, but the early writing for FGO is a lot rougher. I don't think FGO knew exactly what it was doing yet, So, like, Nasu kind of, like, said in interviews that he kind of took it upon himself to be like, okay, if you, the players, still want to keep playing FGO, we're going to do our best to make FGO worth it for you. And then I presume that would probably be around the time he stepped in to write, singularities like 6 and 7, and then, Solomon, and then obviously picked this up and, Hail Mary dive bombed, ran this thing through the end zone for Lost Belts and Ordeal Calls and so on and so forth. So, like, he's not, like, trapped in the FGO prison, but like I said, usually with collabs, I'm more concerned about spoilers for the original product that I haven't gotten to or that we don't have over here. Thank God we did get the Strange Fake anime. Let's just hope that there's not too many. Narita at least is writing it himself, so I assume he's not going to spoil his own final light novel volume.
Well, again, I do want to point out the final light novel was supposed to be out already, so
it's true. But like he's the one who like went back to be like, hold on, I gotta add more pizzazz. So I don't. We'll see, I guess, with the result. But, like, usually that's the thing you hear people talking about. And, like, I guess, honestly, the thing for Mahoyo is, like, I don't even... The biggest quote-unquote spoiler is also, like... Again, Nasu already blew the lid off that. You've known since the fighting game spin-offs that AOKO is the master of the fifth magic. You know she's gonna get Super Saiyan red hair. So, like, it's one of those things that's, like, I don't know, how that would impact. But, like you said, this event's really good. Like, it is absolutely one of the better, if not best, collabs. Like, if you wanted me to rank them, I'm trying to think, like, what are the really, really good collabs? Like, some of the early ones were very foundational. Like, I think... Garden of Sinners has a lot of plot relevance that we talked a little bit about with OC2 that, like, stuck around for a while, but narratively wasn't that impactful.
I do think we made some jokes, and I do believe that actually might have been like a callback to fucking that, with like Shiki being an apartment manager or something. I can't remember it perfectly, but I feel like there was a reference there.
It was that was so good to just get, even if it was only at the end. They've been talking about her family there all the time. We got a little Miki and Mana sprite.
No, it was perfect.
Just a little touch, a little taste. But yeah, no, the Garden of Order was pretty good. I think the story writing for the original not Case Files, the Zero collab was like, the Case Files collab is also alright for the payoff, but no, the Zero collab was like, that one I still have very pleasant memories, if only just because we get to fucking bushwhack Gil during the Banquet of Three Kings. We just interrupt and roll him up, no complaints. Like, that was pretty fun. Also, honestly, I think the climax in the cave of, like, our Waver, eats shit and dies, so the young Waver is like, don't worry, I've figured out what I did. I'll summon a new guy into me. Like, it was pretty alright, but it was early, and definitely the mission grind and the weird mask shit was, like, the mechanics for Zero was way more fidgety. Let us know what your favorite collabs were in the comments, chat. Like, I'm genuinely curious what people be thinking, because it's a pretty regular occurrence. But like Lucky said, some of them are more gag-based than others. This one does have some very good goofs and gags, but I also think that it really lets Nasu do his, like... I don't want to say his, like, number one thing, but one of his big number one things is the urban fantasy horror stuff. Like, that's really where, like, Mahoyo, Tsukihime, Fate Stay Night, and Karano Kyokei are kind of, like, anchored, right? Is that juxtaposition, the border between the modern and mundane and the supernatural, whether that's, like, lots and lots of stuff about, like, urban legends and hauntings, or just, ancient wilderness mystics, and the Kumano Hot Springs was, like, a really good point for that. Right down to, Mr. Manager showing us a whole, like, yes, here's this urban legend, and here's that urban legend, and you're just mentally making a note, like, okay, we're gonna deal with that, and that one, and that one.
Mm-hmm.
Including little investigation segments, and, like, there's a couple, I think, of bad ends you can get.
I really remember one, and that was one I went intentionally for, because I was curious.
But yeah, no, it's very solid. I think the cast of characters is very good, because you have, obviously, the people you'd expect, the playable characters, but also the Mahoyo supporting cast who showed up. But also good use of other Fate-related, like, crossover stuff. It's a singularity, so it doesn't need to make sense, especially because AOKO literally repositioned it a couple of years in time. But I do kind of feel like some of the character tropes were written just to, like, make you go, like Emiya, the sword seller, using the old man Muramasa sprite, is like, that doesn't make any damn sense chronologically speaking, but it still is, like, neat.
Yeah, actually, would Bezet and Karen be running around at that time? I don't remember.
Bezet would be, Karen might be, because, like, Karen's like what? I mean, her age as ruler as a more Karen might be correct, because I feel like her art's drawn a little younger, but she's like a year younger than Shiro, I think. Like, I think she's the same age as Sakura, for instance. So, like, she could have been running around as, like, an exorcist. She was, in the care of the Holy Church. Bazette was allegedly there to do her job to catch not AOKO, but Toko.
Clearly, Toko gave Bazette a false lead, and that's why she's here to fuck with AOKO.
Yeah, no, like, that would absolutely be it, is just, like send her in the wrong direction. Or, alternatively, they never discussed this, but AOKO could have once again used Toko's stolen credit card for the Hot Spring Hotel. I don't know if the Mage Association checks credit card bills, but you never know. But yeah, no, Bazette would be around, but like Shiro's not quite right. Technically, I think, because it's what, 2001? So like, I think Ishirin's age down age is closer. So like, you know, these people exist, but like I said, Emiya Shiro is definitely not an old man yet in 2001. Like, I think he's still in middle school.
I do just like the idea of Fujino just hanging out with fucking Shiki, though. That gives me joy.
Yeah. Honestly, I think the only thing that was missed is they don't do much with it, but Fujino and Alice go to, well, not at the same time, I don't think, but they go to the same school.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no, just Fujino, like, lurking around, like, makes perfect sense. You know, Shiki did save her life, and I think let her keep her mystic eyes. Like, she doesn't kill those, she kills the cancer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she killed the thing that was actually causing her pain.
Yes. Her lingering sense of pain, which I think for Shiki is you know, was remarkably held back, considering that, you know, Fujino did just try to kill her by bending a bridge. But yeah, no, like there's a lot of fun stuff going on with all the characters. So I really liked it. It's a good showing for Mahoyo. It's a good showing for FGO. I do find it kind of fun just how easily, you know, we fit in. I think this gets revealed later also, but like that was a question we had early, is like, well, where did adult Suzuki go? And just like Aoko's just like, oh, I thought it would be confusing. I just knocked him out and hit him somewhere. Punched his ass out and put him in the dumpster.
Might have actually literally thrown him back to another city.
Yeah, she jokes about that. I mean, she probably could displace him. I'd be a little concerned though, considering that it's, you know, Aoko, but Suzuki's pretty tough. Also, I will say this, the event where she showed up didn't really do it for me. I do actually like Kashin in this a lot.
Oh, yeah.
I liked using her as a bonus unit and seeing her, and then, like, that, because I had been using her in some quests, both for Aquamary and for the event-free quests, like, I've been using her a little. I did actually, like, was familiar with her speech patterns, so, like, when she switches back to that, I was like, yes, that's correct. Because if you don't have a Kashin Koji, yes, her actual dialogue is recorded with kind of that halting, you know, how does TV tropes do the joke? Emphasis on the wrong syllable. But no, yeah, it was real good. I'm trying to think, do I have any other specific moments or things I want to call out? Lucky, is there anything else you specifically want to call out about the collab?
No.
All right. Clear my throat. I'll give it one more handful of seconds for the old college think. But if the thing can be done, I think we can. Yeah, all the wishing stuff's very fun, but I think we'll put an end to that one. Like I said, hey people, listening in, you know, let us know what your favorite part of what your thoughts on the collab were. You know, either in the comments or save it for maybe another upcoming mailbag. And let us know in the comments of this video what other collabs you think were very strong, because like I said, I think this is definitely one of my big contenders.
Oh yeah.
You know, I know the Golden Week collabs are usually pretty anticipated, but they definitely are not always, like, huge hitters. Like, honestly, thinking about it, like, I appreciated the Requiem collab for Dark Mary, but also, like, I don't know, that one didn't hit as much, probably because I don't have access to the light novels where I would understand Arisei's inner conflict.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of went over my head. Some of the games were fun, though, playing Werewolf and the like.
Oh, yeah.
But, alright. In that case, I think it is time, then, before I move on to what's up, to finally do Fanservant Friday. That's right, it's time. So, we didn't record a show last time, so we weren't ready to do it, even though I was prepared. But, the one that was picked by the patron poll, of course, the patron of the 5 and up level to vote in the Fanservant Friday poll and get other stuff every month, was Kikimora, plural Kikimori. If you don't know, the Kikimora is a legendary creature. It is a house spirit of various Slavic mythologies, usually compared to the Domovoi, if you've ever heard of them. It's another type of house spirit. And I specifically say, like, you know, house spirit because I would not... Probably is a similar sort of species to a fairy, but since fairies are kind of specific in Nasu, this is not quite that. Especially because Domovoi can be a tutelary deity or an ancestral spirit, you know, the kind of like god of the house. So, you can get a whole lot of spiritual aspects. Now, the funny thing is, on the poll, I had Kikimora under caster. But in designing the stat block and writing the ideas, I decided to change my mind to assassin for presence concealment reasons, because Kikimora are actually known to be pretty stealthy. Legends of them basically moving through your house unseen. The only way you'll be able to tell is because they leave wet footprints behind, camouflaging themselves with, clothing woven from, like, grass and mud kind of a thing. And also, one of the things the Kikimora does is it's basically the Mora in Kikimora is the same root word where we get Mora or Mare as in nightmare.
Oh.
So yes, a Kikimora is also a type of Slavic sleep paralysis demon. It's one of those demons that sneaks into your room through your keyhole and sits on your chest and chokes the life out of you if you're not careful. So, I decided to cross-locate into Assassin because I felt it would be a little more broadly applicable. Now, there are a couple of different legends about the Kikimora. There are a few, like, specifics, but there's also, lots of general things going on. Usually, a Kikimora appears in your house when there's some kind of distress going on, but they can just show up, anyway. There's numerous things which might invite the Kikimora into your house. The most common is a Kikimora will show up if you have a problem that is, house-related. If, the woman of the house does not want to keep things clean and orderly. If the husband is, lazy or abusive. Your children are unruly. If you, go against the social order, all parts of it, the Kikimora will come to your house, where she will bother you. Obviously, there's the, sleep paralysis thing going on, the kidnapping children sort of stuff. And this will come into specific, design elements for a servant here. But sometimes there's said to be two different kinds of Kikimora legends. There is one that is associated with the house, and where the Kikimora, who is usually almost always described as a female spirit, is married to Domovoi. But there is also the Kikimora of the swamp, married to Leshi, which is a woodland spirit, a nature boy. But the swamp Kikimora, whose name might also literally translate to swamp hag, if you use those alternate terms, are also known to, scare and, like, push travelers off roads and stuff. But Kikimora can also do, like, annoying things, again, leave wet footprints. She might come to your house and, like, weave in the middle of the night, make a lot of noise, clank your pots and pans around, steal small objects, break your dishes, whistle at night. Basically, just, like, Kikimora is a perfect explanation for, like, all those little annoyances you have around your house, right, that have no obvious logical explanation. You apply it into something supernatural. But if your shit is in order when Kikimora comes to visit, she might do nice things for you. Obviously, if you reverse your behavior, you can get her to leave the house, but like I said, she spins thread, she might warn you about misfortune, might take care of housework, and also particularly is associated with taking care of the household animals, especially chickens. She will care for and feed your chickens. So, a lot of this, funny morality play duality, I have, utilized into, very fun things you can do with a servant, which is basically a double-natured servant. Because depending on the type of Kikimora you are invoking, and depending on how your attitude is, you might get the helpful Kikimora, who is just like, I'll say it, one of the ascensions would probably be kind of like, housemaid inspired, like just is a spirit hanging around your house, helping you do things. It's a pretty common, folkloric, what's the right word, archetype. I forget the fairy equivalent, but there is that, very nice lady fairy in Ancient Magus Bride, who hangs out and does housework and stuff. Like, there's quite a few of those archetypes. On the other hand, you've got, spooky swamp witch hag who, whistles in the middle of the night and breaks all your pots and pans. So, a double-natured house spirit who is probably a, degraded nature or divine spirit, and, married to a guy who might be considered a god, whether that's Domovoi or Leshi. And also, you get to do very fun with animal aspects. here's a traditional art of a Kikimora, where you've got like a weird kind of hook nose, which could be like a dog, or could be like a beak, like a chicken, and you've got, of course, the chicken feet. But so, I switched Kikimora to Assassin. Alignment, lawful, evil / good, and yes, this would actually probably be a switchy thing. Maybe you'd make separate ascensions, but I imagine you'd have separate sprites for this. Stats, Strength C, Endurance D, Agility B, Magic Power A, Luck C, and PC. Pretty middle-of-the-road stats. A little higher strength for an assassin because, again, this entity is supposed to be, pushing over travelers and, like, strangling the life out of you kind of a thing. Class skills, Presence Concealment, B+, Magic Resistance B. Not normally on assassins, but it's important. Did go for a Divinity E because, like I said, the kind of, like, mythological trace is that, the Kikimora was probably related to either some kind of divine spirit earlier, like upper in the line, but has obviously now kind of like degraded to just like an evil spirit or demon. So I think the big one for, obviously I should say actually, the classic Morph B would show up. It would at least be recorded in the servant stats because, the ability to shapeshift. The Kikimora is said to be able to borrow from any animal trait, and then obviously you have the images seen there, face of a dog, claws or talons like a dog, horns of a goat, chicken feet, etc. Kikimora can appear as either an old woman or a young woman kind of a thing, like all kinds of, mystical fairy tale shape-shifting shit. So Morph is a great skill to put in there, but that's okay. We're going to put that on the sheet. We're going to hide that. So, the actual crux here is basically 2 skills, both ranked C+, which would be, I think, kind of like the split. You have House Ghost versus House Guardian. So, as, House Ghost, the ghost or demon, the Kikimora is, an invasive, hostile spirit, appears in houses which are unclean or disorderly, performs malicious pranks, disrupts local magical energy, degrades territory creation, barriers, and other things normally associated with homes, probably inflicts a curse, kind of a thing. This is when you are evil alignment, your Kikimora can sneak into places, fuck their shit up. You could probably even, like, package and, I don't know how good it would be on a playable servant, but you could package, like, arts effectiveness down onto an enemy, but it could also just be arts res down, I don't know. Work that out, but probably like an AoE curse and, futz with their ability to do barriers and protections. The other side of that is House Guardian is, that's your good mode. That's Kikimora as the helpful guardian spirit, a minor deity. Reinforces your bounded field, improves your workshops, improves territory creation for the master, improves, just the general flow of your house. It gets augmentations to abilities while inside the house. All kinds of fun stuff. And then 2 separate skills, which are probably permanently all around. One is Night Moth. That is... in other languages, like in Polish and Czech, the name for, Mora that Kikimora gets its name from can be linked to, like, puns about either night butterfly or types of moths, sphinx moths or hawk moths. So, sorry, clearing my throat a little there. But, association with mothness. And being a night creature, usually Kikimora only shows up at night. Unless she's brewing beer in the swamp. Because Kikimora likes beer and she'll brew it in the swamp. And when she brews beer in the swamp, summons a great fog. We'll come back to that one later. But yeah, Night Moth, associated with moths, butterflies, and technically associated with spiders. I think that's just the Witcher, games and TV show. They're not really described as spidery in previous lore, but they are kind of spidery in The Witcher. But Kikimora does love to weave. So, the ability to make threads from her magical energy for offense and defense, but also to make, camouflage clothing. Like I said, Kikimora is associated with, camouflaging herself with, mud, grass, and moss kind of a thing. And there was it's an uncited, statement, so I do not know if it's true or if somebody just made it the fuck up on Wikipedia, but somebody did say that apparently, in Russian and Ukrainian, Kikimora is sometimes used to basically describe, like, a ghillie suit. And I don't know if that's true, but it sounds truth-y because ghillie suit is already named after something folkloric. It's named after the ghillie is like a type of forest fairy or like a, green man kind of guy. So if that metaphor gets used in other languages, that would not shock me. But basically, this is the ability to make, supernaturally camouflaged clothing, which even works against detect and magecraft. This is partially why I gave her magic resistance in the stat block, but also Kikimora, the assassin that beats the thing that normally beats assassins. If you can't tell, in FGO, assassins are weak to casters because typically in a Holy Grail war, casters defeat assassins because any heroic spirit caster can whip up very basic magecraft that defeats presence concealment. So Kikimora is like, haha, no, I have legends about this. But also, the last skill is Sleep Paralysis Demon, B+. She is literally a sleep paralysis demon, like, can perform a powerful curse to lure enemies into a sleep-like state, slowly sap their life force, unless they repel her with methods out of a fairy tale. Kind of like some sort of folklore defense. Anyway, this would probably be like a single-target sleep debuff. Maybe like an HP leech like Carmilla has. So put an enemy to sleep, leech a little life out of them, but not damage them so they don't, wake up from sleep immediately kind of a thing. It is one of her many powerful curses. And like I said, the Kikimora is... It doesn't seem like there seems to be a good, at least on English-speaking sites. I don't know if in Slavic languages there's better about it. But there doesn't seem to be a good folkloric reason for why there are House Kikimora and Swamp Kikimora. But there are two different types, which obviously, we can... because heroic spirits and servants get to be funny, we get to have, both aspects in here. Like I said, I'm literally imagining a servant who, probably when you activate either House Guardian or House Ghost, it would be that thing that would, actually, maybe they could even do it that way. It asks you before which one you want, and that would, switch which skill gets activated and also switch the NP. Spoiler, there's 2 NPs, but doing a dualism thing. But, the Swamp Kikimora is, also just, lots of Slavic legends about swamp hags and swamp witches, which is also another very powerful fairy tale archetype. So, Kikimora got some of that action. And there's a lot of, again, very, very fun, character archetypes and concepts you can do. Like I said, I kind of like a dualism where on one hand you've got, nice, I don't think I actually got a real... Actually, no, I might have put it in some of the Noble Phantasm descriptions, but one thing that's always fascinated me that I am not sure what the original codifier is of, I'm sure we could find the anime or manga that started it, but y'all know in anime and manga that, there's lots of maids that are also ninjas. I don't know why that is, but it's true. It's probably just some sort of joke about how actual shinobi are supposed to just disguise themselves as the household servants, but usually that's so that they can, spy on you, not so that they can defend your house. But I just feel like if you give Kikimora a housemaid ascension, there also gets to be some ninja shit baked in. Why? Just cuz. But then also, when you're in evil mode, your evil alignment, then you get to do spooky swamp hag stuff. And you need to, you have a character design where, everybody points and says, wood. I know what the FGO people like. But so for the 2 Noble Phantasms, actually also, I think another thing that made me think about the maid thing was, this is another design that, another servant name that did get used for the Great War of Heroes in Fate School Life, and the author did do a drawing of, but there's not, a lot of elaboration, not even, a Noble Phantasm name. It was just something that was submitted, and we thought it was cool, and so we showed it off. So let me find that art as well, just because it's one of those things that, like I said, this is part of why I think about the Ninja Maid stuff. Also, the artist who drew this was very funny because it's Slavic. She has a little sickle and hammer. Which I did record in the armaments. I don't know if FGO would want to get away with that, but I think it could be funny to just include in some of your attacks. But, so, the 2 Noble Phantasms, we have number 1, and I apologize if I'm not saying this quite right, but I think it's Bolotnya Naya Baba, which is just another fancy way to say Swamp Witch. Baba, Grandma of the Swamp. Which is another sort of sub-archetype that, is connected with the Swamp Kikimori. In this case, Kikimori who dwell in the swamps, they live in tundras, bogs, knotted homes. They are the bride of Leshi, who is a forest deity. They are the Swamp Kikimori are usually described as a sister to Rusalka, which is a malevolent water spirit in Slavic mythology. One of those, spirits of pretty ladies which drowns you. Don't follow strange women into the water, gang. But this is also known as Borodnitsa, which means, mistress of the swamps. Borodnitsa are supposed to come from, children abandoned in the swamp, raised by nature, a tribeswoman who becomes an evil shaman, runs away from her indigenous tribe to become, a shamaness, evil powers. A degraded divine spirit. Bolotnica waits in the swamps, luring men in with your beauty by singing or weeping, and then when you get too close, scares them, throws them from their horse, kills them by, dragging them under the water, that kind of thing. All the usual stuff, which is like, once again, hey, don't bother people while you're riding through a swamp. Swamps are dangerous. Basically, once again, chat, if you haven't picked up, lots of, European folklore and fairy stories are about how the wilderness is dangerous. How do we survive as a species before guns? Sort of beat. So, don't go to the forests. Don't go into swamps. If you meet a stranger, be nice. You never know who that is. Don't take shit that's not yours. Don't harass beautiful women in the wilderness, because you never know when she's gonna murder your ass. Common life lessons. But yeah, basically, while she's in evil mode, Kikimora can use, Bolotnica Baba to embody her more, sinister aspects. She can brew up a great fog to conceal herself from sight, strike the enemy with lethal force by, crushing life out of them. When she releases its true name, it becomes a barrier-like expansion that summons cold fog, downpours, hails. Bolotnica are supposed to be able to also do, like, weather shit, summon storms. Hampers enemy perceptions, conceals her own nature as a servant, and negates the terrain advantage of enemies, enhances her own. So probably give you bonuses on certain terrain types, like either like straight up make it darkness field. I don't know. I don't think swamp is a terrain type, but you could probably do water side. Near water is a terrain type in FGO. I think overwrite any buffs that did set the terrain type, like that would probably be like a secondary effect you could include for free. But if any of your enemies did change the terrain type of a map, you could probably have this skill remove them. And then definitely should do, like, bonus damage. Probably a single target, and then, like, give them confusion. Single target, give them confusion, remove their terrain type buffs. Probably sure hit first, kind of a thing. And then, like I said, I think it would be, like, inflict confusion or terror, or both on them. Maybe you're stunned, maybe you're skill sealed, who knows. But this is, the ability to murder people in swamps. So probably do bonus damage if you're already at a waterside area. The other NP is Kikimori, the one of the house. Kikimori is like the name of a mood poem to go with an orchestral piece. But the one of the house is one of the translations for Domovoy. So this is the, Kikimori of the house, the wife of Domovoy, who is a spirit or god of the house. There were also some legends about, like, you could get married to a Kikimora. It's probably not a good idea. But there are some, references like that about, like, if you have a bad wife, it would be like having a Kikimora for a wife. Probably because she breaks plates. It's a very annoying habit to have. But, Kikimora can appear like a lost child, cry out to be picked up. There's at least one story I found that's from that poem about attached to an orchestra where, a magician, in this case you would say a magus, adopts Kikimora, and his cat tells her stories of ancient legends in faraway lands. I also thought that was interesting because a house cat is said to be one of the forms of the Domovoy. So, you have an interesting kind of, like, bond there. And yes, in good mode, you can use Kikimori to, amplify her powers as, a household spirit, a protector of animals and children. Diligent, working on household tasks, warding off famine and ill fortune, spinning flax from dusk till dawn, giving her the ability to do battle with other guardian spirits. This isn't necessarily intrinsically a Kikimori thing, but like I said, I did a little bit of side research, and the Domovoy is supposed to be, the guardian spirit of your house and your family. So what happens if like, two families come together, or, like, you move into somebody else's, like, ancestral family home? Well, your Domovoy battle it out like Pokemon. Only one of them wins and gets to stay in the house. So, and the ability to fight other guardian spirits of the past, which may be physical, fight servants. So, if she's in a house, workshop, or otherwise, she can link to any bounded fields there, accelerate her activity to, warp space to accomplish household tasks in a flash, increase combat parameters versus servants. In the right sort of house with, history, could summon phantoms or wraiths of ancestral spirits to defend it. So probably some of her animations would be, summoning vanilla FGO ghosts to, huck balls at people, claw them up. Yes, this is where I put the note. The efficiency and combat ability may be related to modern folktales fiction about household staff, maids, conflated with assassins and bodyguards. But this, I think, would be a barrier-type, non-hostile NP, but would, buff the whole team, show Kikimora accelerating to accomplish a bunch of, household tasks. Probably give, herself crit damage up and, bonus damage versus servants. Maybe your whole team bonus damage versus servants. Give everybody a big old defense up. Actually, hell, Servant is a fairly common trait. You could make it go both ways. She could get a damage up versus servants trait and also give trait defense to your whole team. Defense up versus servants. That'd be funny, but would also not be a universal trait, for not every boss has the servant trait. And like I said, I'm imagining this is a servant where you can use a skill to switch modes, switch NPs, possibly, be Ascension tied, because that would work out well for, nice household maid mode, anime ninja maid, and then, weird chicken foot, dressed like a babushka. And considering, Kyokoyo is a servant who exists, you could probably get away with the classic, kind of beak face.
Yeah.
Kyoko's literally a fucking T-Rex, so, we can do anything, truly. And then probably some sort of, in-between, but I don't know exactly what that would be. There's a few different, variations going on. There's images that are kind of much more directly swampy, a few different ideas, but yeah. So you've got a defensive barrier type NP, and then you've got an assassin type kill you in a swamp NP. And like I said, I had a lot of fun doing this one. I love folk tales and fairy stories, and it's always fun to take a look at a servant who truly can be properly dual natured, because folklore is split and there's not a real clean explanation why. Other than that, like I said, there is this kind of relationship where, Domovoy is, the spirit or god of the house, Leshy is the spirit or god of the forest, and, the Kikimora is kind of in between. So you get a murder maid hag, who will whistle and break plates, and summon ghosts, and weave and spin. And that has been your Fan Servant Friday. And yeah, like I said, I got started on building this, and I was like, I said caster originally, but I think assassin works better. We're spooky, we're sneaky, we kill people. I think the assassinating aspect is the thing that's supposed to make an assassin is the killing of men, of humans. Usually an important guy, but you never know. But we're just under 2 hours. Let's take another intermission-y real quick. Take a bio break, and then we'll jump into What's Up. All right. Well, means we're here in the What's Up area. Some sort of zone of What's Up. Another reason why we took a week off. We've gathered up quite a few of these things here. I kind of feel like, I know it's at the bottom of the list, but starting at the BAFTAs might be a good jump off into some stuff later.
Okay.
So yeah, this year's BAFTA Awards just happened.
Yeah.
And they dished out a few of them. So let's see, yes. Lucky's linked me a brief list, no comments. So I don't know about the nominees, but we've seen a few winners.
Mm-hmm. What is the full list? Actually, let me check the Wikipedia. Let me see if they updated it.
Yeah, if you can find any mentions. But there's still some pretty good stuff here. Not like a crazy sweep, though I know that some other previous awards have made sure to give some flowers to Death Stranding too. But it's, BAFTAs kind of feels like it's a little bit of what you'd expect, but then there's a few oddballers in there. Winner of Best Game was Clair Obscura Expedition 33, which, it is kind of the hasn't been out a full year, so, it's the kind of cultural phenomena of the year. They gave Best Animation and Audio Achievement Award to Dispatch. It's a game I still need to play. It's on my list. Keeping an eye out for maybe a sale. But that's another game that's, reviewed, super well, and didn't get a lot of attention at the Game Awards because it came out a little too close. It made the cut for the Game Awards, but was obviously very new.
They do have the nominations and the winner on the Wikipedia site for the 22nd British Academy Game Awards.
Oh, interesting. Okay, so they kind of edited how they changed some of their criteria and changed up how their voting banks work. Interesting. But let's see. Okay, well, I guess we'll start at the top. Best game, I just already mentioned, Clair Obscur 1 was nominated against Arc Raiders, Blueprints, Dispatch, Ghost of Yotei, and Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. All very strong video games. Animations, Dispatch 1 over Battlefield 6, Death Stranding 2, Ghost of Yotei, Hades 2, and Hollow Knight Silksong. wide variety of different sorts of games in that category. Shout out to Battlefield 6 for standing up there with giants, you know. Artistic achievement, which I'm, exceptional visual art across all genres. That was won by Death Stranding 2 on the Beach. Yay. And that was up against Clear Obscure, Dispatch, Ghost of Yotei, Hollow Knight, and South of Midnight. Again, all games with very strong art styles, but I do like Death Stranding 2 edging out there. I don't want to say that, like, Claire Obscure lacks art direction. That's a conversation we've had before about people kind of, like, pushing back because it won so many Giga Awards.
Mm-hmm.
But Death Stranding 2 also has, like, really good visuals. Crazy shit. But let's see. Audio Achievement, we mentioned before, was also won by Dispatch. It was against Arc Raiders, Claire Obscure, Death Stranding 2, Ghost of Yotei, and Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. Gee, I wonder what games the British liked this year.
I don't know. I feel like maybe Death Stranding 2 should have gotten it, because I'm looking at it. The British Video Game Award for Audio Achievement is an award presented annually by the British Academy of Film and Television Art. It is known for excellence in design of application of sound, dialogue, and music to create an exceptional audio experience. I have not played Dispatch, so
no,
I cannot...
people say Dispatch is pretty good, so I don't know, like, how they do about kind of blending... Like, I think the voice performance, I want to say, overall in Dispatch is very good, so I don't... That may have given the I don't know, I wanted to say the Academy, but that's not quite right, but that may have given the panelists, like, the edge over of just, like, having a overall super strong voice cast, because I do think that Death Stranding 2 also has a strong vocal cast and also, like, acting cast, but does have a smaller overall, like, palette of characters, and I don't want to say the performances of, like, people in, like, shelters are bad, per se, but definitely many of them are just normal, just a normal human man. Whereas, like I said, I think Dispatch has, like, a lot of oomph in all their character performances because, it's a like, D-tier superhero game, so you got a lot of different characters going on. But overall, I think, like, mixing sound, music, and dialogue, I would probably say Death Stranding 2 probably would have edged out for me. Because, like I said, I haven't played Dispatch yet, so I don't know. Best British game. They gotta have one over for their own. Oh, I didn't know that. Sorry. So their nominees were Atomfall, Citizen Sleeper 2. Didn't know that was British. Mafia: The Old Country, Monument Valley 3, 2 Point Museum, and Power Wash Simulator 2.
I think we've made comments about that, how Power Wash Simulator is very British.
Yeah, it tried to be, like, oddly suburban American, but it was secretly very English. I haven't played any of these games yet, so I don't know. But I think Atomfall was considered pretty good.
I've heard good things about it. Like I said, Citizen Sleeper 2 is on my wish list. Like I said, I love the first one.
Yeah.
So I'm glad it got the nomination at least.
I need to play the first one, but I technically own it twice because it was a free PS Plus game that I think I redeemed, and also I bought it, for a couple of dollars on Steam. Just how it shakes out. Debut game was won by Clair Obscur Expedition 33 because that's a pretty good one.
Yeah.
Up against Blueprints, Consume Me, Despelote, Dispatch, and Midnight Walk. These are all pretty strong ones. Evolving game. Sean Murray, I'm getting a little tired of you. It's No Man's Sky. Make your dragon game, Sean Murray. Your next, sprawling accomplish. Honestly, I get that it's kind of a meme that now, we reverse the curse, and now No Man's Sky's meme is just, like, every 6 months they drop, like, a crazy transformative free update out of nowhere. And, like, thank God Fortnite's not on here anywhere, but it was against Fallout 76, Helldivers 2, Hitman World of Assassination, Vampire Survivors, and, shout out to, Warhammer 40k Space Marine 2, which is a game we've also been playing. That was an unexpected check-in there. But, yeah, I think all of those are good. I don't know, man, if you want to nominate No Man's Sky, sure. People still get excited when it posts an update, at least, I think. Helldivers does kind of seem to still be in a little bit of a weird pattern where, like, when they do new events, they seem, like, really keen, but then they kind of, like, go into, like, a relaxed state, and so, I don't know. I've not really, other than after the ODST collab, I didn't even check out the Cyberstan event. Mostly because people said that, you just get slaughtered in Cyberstan. But, let's see. Best family game won by Lego Party. Up against Donkey Kong Bonanza, Is the Seas Taken, Mario Kart World, Power Wash Simulator 2, and 2 Point Museum. Sure, all very solid. Game Beyond Entertainment, I assume that's the equivalent of the Game Awards Games for Impact, like games that are are here to say stuff.
Yeah.
So your winner was Despelote, and was against And Roger, Citizen Sleeper 2, Consume Me, Stalker 2, and The Altars. And some of you may be wondering what is Stalker 2 doing on this list. Stalker 2 was delayed by the real-life invasion of Chernobyl by Russia. So, I don't know how that shakes up in there. Game design. Let's see. Game design winner was Blue Prince against Ball Pit, or possibly Ball X Pit. I'm still unsure. Clair Obscur, Ghost of Yotei, Hades 2, and Split Fiction. What are our qualifications for game design? Best game that captivates and engages the player. Game mechanics, controls, level and world structure, pacing. Okay, so it's a very broad category, but pretty comprehensive. I mean, I don't think Blueprints is for everyone, but it is the kind of game where if you get sucked into it, you really get sucked into it.
Mm-hmm.
So I can see it. And I do think that, like, we both have our own bones to pick about the quote-unquote game design of, like, Clair Obscur and Ghost of Yotei. Those are not perfect in their game design.
No.
So that's an interesting one to pick out, but that might be correct. I have yet to play Hades 2 myself. Also on my list. Same with Split Fiction, but that's also, one of those games. Multiplayer went to Arc Raiders against Dune Awakening, Elden Ring, Night Rain, Lego Party, Peak, and Split Fiction. Shout out to Peak for getting nominated.
Yeah. It's such a nothing game, and it went so far.
Yeah, no, it's crazy good. It's one of those games that occasionally I'll see like somebody post like a stream VOD or talk about it, and I'll be like, I could play some Peak. They added like a solo mode. Maybe I should try that. Monkey around. Just me. But I got a lot of little games to play. But yeah, Arc Raiders was another kind of like, sensation of the moment.
I am interested in playing Arc Raiders.
Yeah, they seem to be doing different things. I know there's some commentary going on right now that they're like, it's been like 4 months since it came out. They're kind of in the 80% lower player count, hump.
Mm-hmm.
But people are still going. And I think part of it seems to be that, like, it sounds like in addition to kind of their more obvious matchmaking and PvE available focus, they don't necessarily do, like, full wipes of your stuff. Which, obviously, like, I mean, kind of, like, may involve some of the gameplay loops and stuff. So it's interesting. And I try not to feel too much self-satisfaction being kind of a weird outlier for Marathon that people were poking fun at its player counts and now we're doing the same thing. But really, honestly, it's like, I think also we should just obsess less with player counts. The Steam player counts don't necessarily mean anything. If you're still making matches, it's fine. And I think they're doing interesting things, even down to they've said that they're gonna replace their AI voices with voice actors. That's good. Again, I'm moving on to from multiplayer to music. You can just tell what games the BAFTAs thought were cool this year. Ghost of Yotei actually won.
Mm-hmm.
But it was up against Clair Obscur, Death Stranding 2, Dispatch. Oh, Dispatch got nominated for music, so maybe they do have a good soundtrack as well. But Hollow Knight Silksong and Indiana Jones and the Great Circle, which I'm sure, probably has a soundtrack that's very inspired by, the original movie. So, yeah, no, I think all of those are hitters. Ghost of Yotei does have really good music. I don't know, that's tough for me to pick. Like, Expedition 33 just has, like, a very, very layered, very heavy, thematic soundtrack. Like, all kinds of just really good vibes. But also, Mr. Kojima's mixtape was really good. I don't know, man. That's a tough one. Let's see. Your nominees for narrative. Winner was Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. Again, people go to bat for that game. You've got also nominees for Blue Prince, Clair Obscur, Death Stranding 2, Indiana Jones the Great Circle, and The Altars, which is an interesting game I've mentioned before. I haven't tried it myself, but there's a couple of things out there. It's what we say. It's a game where you play a space miner who like clones himself to survive,
and
it's got like simulation elements. Oh, it won best strategy simulation at DICE. I'm gonna guess DICE is probably where we got a couple of extra hitters for some boys. But yeah, so I haven't played KC2, but I've heard people talk about it. So,
I'm interested in it as well.
Solid. New intellectual property won by South of Midnight. Another one I've heard good things about. Other nominees included Arc Raiders, Clair Obscur, Dispatch, Split Fiction, and The Altars as well. And they do actually have a both leading and supporting role. So nominees for performer in a leading role was won by Jennifer English as Mael in Clair Obscur Expedition 33. You know, just, we're already getting a joke. Just cast Jennifer English if you want your game to win awards, because she's been in a couple that have been award-winning. But they also nominated Aaron Paul as Robert from Dispatch, Ben Starr as Verso, Clair Obscur Expedition 33, Erika Ishii as Atsu in Ghost of Yote, Tom McKay as Henry in Kingdom Come Deliverance, and Troy Baker specifically as Indiana Jones in Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. And performer in supporting role was won by Jeffrey Wright for Chase in Dispatch. I do believe that is a character that's liked very well. Alex Wilton Regan as Lee Florence Monad in Lies of P. Overture. Haven't played the DLC. But Charlie Cox was nominated as Gustav as well. Jane Perry as Leah Kane in Dead Take. Not familiar with that game. Christy Ryder as Lune in Clair Obscur as well. And Troy Baker as Higgs was nominated at least. I think, like I said, I'm pretty sure there were some other award shows where he won some. And then technical achievement. Okay, now once again, you got to tell me, what's technical achievement mean? Innovation in gameplay or technology. It was originally titled Innovation, now as technical achievement. Interesting. Well, our winner there was also Ghost of Yote. I'm trying to think, what would I mean, the maps are very good in Ghost of Yote. Like, you do kind of just get to bum around and explore, and also kill guys. But winner Ghost of Yote, also nominated Arc Raiders, Just Training 2, Doom Dark Ages, Indiana Jones Great Circle, and Split Fiction. So, pretty normal stuff. Glad to see a few awards, pop out for Death Stranding and for Ghost of Yote. I don't know if that's just, we had some more time to think about those games, or if, like, for instance, Death Stranding 2's release on PC put it in front of more eyeballs. But still some big wins for Clair Obscur. It is kind of, like we said, the phenom of the year. And, I don't know for sure if we have that same sort of, phenom silver bullet game yet this year. I do believe, actually, let me check. It came out today. How is Pragmata's review scores?
Pretty good from what I can tell.
Yeah, I've been hearing a lot of stuff. Let's see. Very strong. 86 on PS5, 88 on PC, though with fewer critic reviews. 88 on Switch 2. Very strong reviews. So that's always good to see. And obviously, also with the BAFTAs, there, it was an all awards show, so there was a lot of stuff going on. I've already seen and retweeted a couple of images, like a lot of the E33 cast was there, including Charlie Cox himself, finally. He's been freed from the Disney hell of shooting Daredevil. Already retweeted one image of him and Ben Starr, together on the carpet. And of course, our biggest Ben Starr is like, going out of his way. He's super fancy. Oh. Sorry, itching my nose. Oh, sorry, that's just a really odd, timely bit. Apparently, it's Rick Moranis' 73rd birthday. He looks great. Yeah, cool. I guess that's what it'll do when you retire for a couple of decades. But yeah, the BAFTAs came out, and I think a lot of the usual suspects you'd see in there were good. So it's interesting, but I think it also just makes sure to keep some games on my radar of like, man, I really do need to try out Dispatch for myself. That sort of thing. But I think that is a good point since... Sorry, I forgot my words for a second there. But since, we talked about E33 winning some awards, I do also have it in my notes to, among other video games, we can also discuss E33 in general, because not only did you beat that game, you platinumed.
Yeah, I did. So it took me quite a while, but I did complete it. And the quite a while was from one fight in particular, which I had to really double down on, but we can talk about that later. So yes, I platinumed the E33. For those not quite sure what that means at least on the PlayStation version, I got every achievement that was possible in the game. Doesn't mean I did all the content, as there are still other things. There's still additional boss fights and zones I have not been to. For example, the thank you update added Verso's drafts with a bunch of super bosses and all that stuff. I haven't done that, nor have I done the extra bosses over at Endless Tower. But like I said, those weren't necessarily a concern for me, because I was concerned about getting the trophies, getting the base experience done, and I did that. So I beat the game. I think, oh god, what am I clocked that at? Oh, I deleted it already from my PlayStation. It won't give me the hours. It was a lot. I spent a long time on this game, because I did a lot of grinding. One of the achievements is get to level 99.
Yeah, okay.
I did that. And frankly, I felt like I needed to be level 99 to beat Simon, who is basically a secret super boss who has some bullshit mechanics. He basically has 3 phases, and in the 3rd phase, he basically gormashes your fucking frontline party, so you have to switch to your backline party. It sucks. It absolutely sucks. I only won that one because Monoko survived with the Picto survivors. So we had 1 HP, and I got off the fucking counter, which is hard because fucking this is actually pretty cool. Simon, as he increases his phase, the amount of attacks he does per combo increases. Like when he does like a short combo, it's like only 3 hits, but when he get to phase 2, it becomes 6 hits, and when you're in phase 3, it becomes 9 hits.
Ugh.
As basically phantom swords appear after the tank, so you have to like go doo, 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 doo. And so, but I did it. Like I said, Monaco with 1 HP with the counter got Simon. I was so fucking, and you get the Simon which lets you do the fucking double hit count on skills for Versa, which is great. It really sucked though that was literally the last thing I did before I beat the game, so I did not actually have a lot of time to actually explore it.
I mean, I guess if you wanted, you could go back and try the new shit they added, I guess. But yeah, that is always the whatchamacallit, right? The problem of like, well, I unlocked something cool from defeating a secret boss, but I don't have anything else to do now.
Yeah, and unfortunately,
you acquired
because
the Infinity +1 sword.
Yeah, and unfortunately, because I was so strong, even though I purposely was skipping turns so I could see mechanics, the final bosses were way too easy. In the actual story, I was like, big rip. But having played like all of the game and experienced all of the sun, like I can definitely see where there's a lot of love for this game. I actually personally find it very like strange. Everyone's talking about Jennifer English as Mael, being their favorite. Like me, did not actually see anything particularly special with that. Like I don't know, maybe it is the one that resonated me the more was Ben Starr as Verso and his performances in there. I guess that he did he played the tortured soul very well. Covering everything up with a snark. Like I said, his relationship with Monoko was also like a big highlight for me. So I don't know if I'm necessarily missing something about it. Maybe I just do not understand, the performance of, maybe I just missed something in it, but that was good. The music though, amazing, phenomenal, all over the place. Especially when you do a phase change and the music changes with it. Oh, it's so great. It's so amazing. That happened with many fights.
Listen, you gotta do it.
Mm-hmm.
If you do a phase change, you gotta change the music.
But
honestly, I will say this. I think all the voice cast in E33 is really strong. I'm not fully through with the game. I'm inside the monolith right now. I have been playing, but also it's difficult to speedball E33 because you want to fight guys to get XP and to get stuff good. But also it's hard, at least at the stage where I am in the game, to just instantly delete enemies. Later, I didn't know when it was, but I already knew that there is a way to uncap damage. But once you do that, you can hypothetically set up to just be like, you're dead. But before that, spelling's hard. But so, like I said, I don't know exactly where it's going to go, but I think everybody has a really strong, all the voice performers are really good. I'm kind of curious where, because obviously we've talked about it a little. It's not necessarily super secret. If you want to go completely blind, cover your ears for a second. But I think there's an interesting case where I think the BAFTAs did do it correctly, but it was also hard to talk about when the game was newer. About Gustav is technically a supporting character. He's not there for the whole story. He's felt all the way through. As seen by I unlocked, the special ability for Mael that is Gustav's legacy. But, he kind of exits. I kind of feel like, Mael is the character who so far is the kind of through line. She's there at the beginning through the twist and going on, whereas Verso does only jump into the group later, but is also very important to the story. But I think everybody has a really strong performing.
I don't know, Shield and Lune's characters are great. Something I can say about the game is all the characters are wonderfully flawed humans. They feel like people who, make mistakes, are stubborn about certain things, and aren't afraid of, maybe doing a little lying to get their way, which I find actually very nice, like I said. And sometimes they're hypocritical too, which I'm like, oh, like I actually think that's like really good. So like, no, like the character relationships in this game are like some of the best I've seen. And a lot of the interactions are just great. Like I said, the music's great. The visual style is pretty good. Like, the more I think about it, like, yeah, it's pretty, but also mostly it's just kind of weird. Like I said, there's a very good reason for why the things they look the way they do, but the more I like they make very good like environmental like artworks and stuff, but I don't think anything actually like particularly grabbed me visually.
Yeah, I was just trying to. I like my first thought was to say it's very abstracted, but then I was like, her abstract art. I'm like, I probably shouldn't phrase it just like that. But no, it's very. Oh, it's not quite. Actually, no. Yeah, we can say it's very representational. Hell, fuck. Maybe it's impressionist. Like the environments are not always literal. They are usually kind of like swashes of color, and it's called clair obscur for a reason. Like, there's a shitload of emphasis on the interplay of light and darkness. Mm-hmm. And also kind of like, as another subset, they use the switch between like, black and white gradient and color gradient as like another big thing. But I kind of get what you mean about how like, it's more just like when you're in the moment, it oozes style. But when you leave the moment, it's like, how would you describe that? And you're just like, I don't know, man. It's just kind of like a wash of colors, like a painting, and then usually they intersperse some interesting environmental details. Like doing the monolith is kind of like a literal pastiche of all the areas you've been to already, right? So like some areas are like underwater, but not underwater. Other areas are real rocky. We really like columnar basalt, which is true and real. Column basalt is really rad. Natural hexagons. But also, like, I kind of feel like sometimes the environments are almost a little too, like, high-res for their own good, because, like, if you stop and look, there is a lot of, like, little extra detail in, like, all the rocky crags and, like, puddles of water. But when you're just, running or scooting around, because Luna, floats, for instance, like, you don't really see all that. It just kind of, like, blurs to the background. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I think I agree that like it's definitely like it has a strong art direction, but that art direction is not necessarily meant to like leave a like permanent mark on you in any like given moment.
No. I think probably the one that actually left the strongest impression on me was very story related, but when you get to Old Lumine and you just see the swords everywhere and the Axon, with the sword in it heads, that's like I think probably like the one scene that like truly stuck with me. Like, throughout the whole game. Like, that environment of just swords of light in this ruined city and this giant beast just dead. And figuring that out made me go, oh, well, that sucks. Oh, yes, by the way, I'm not going to tell you what ending I picked. I saw them both. I hate them both.
One of those.
Yes, no. Guess what? This is a European-based story. They are completely fine with just being like, no, everything sucks at the end. No one's happy. Cool.
It's it is very, very, very noir, very European.
Ooh. Excuse me. But, we're talking about combat. Combat is okay. Like, Clair Obscura, for the most part, is okay with people trying to break their game. I think they've done maybe a couple patches to maybe, like, stop some of the more egregious ones. And of course, like I said, I do feel like feel like they are safely comfortable. And so like, no matter how cool you are, we can always make something that can kick your ass. It's the video game version of, Rocks Fall, Everyone Dies. The GM always has the biggest stick.
Yeah.
Like I said, I was level 99. I had a fuck ton of, pictos and stuff. It still was, nothing says like, no, I win if I say we win, then, Simon just killing your frontline party and there's nothing you can do about it. It's just like, oh. But, I think the rest of the game is really well balanced. Like, I've talked about this. Clair Obscura doesn't really do anything, like, particularly new with its combat system. Like, hitting X to, do more damage and stuff. It's like, that's like from Legend of the Goon back on the PS1. The Picto system, that's literally just the system.
That's from, like, Super Mario RPG on, like, the SNES, like, timed hits.
Yeah.
Like, very, very old school.
Like, no, like, most of the systems that you see in Clear Obscure are from something like, I'm not entirely sure about the jumping counter, though. I think that is actually pretty unique. I don't think I've ever seen a game do that. That one actually surprised me.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of the combat subsystems are mostly just like most of them are not new, but it seems like it's kind of like doing a blend that like I don't know if I've seen a video game that uses all like I've seen all of those elements in other video games, and I kind of agree. I actually don't know. Jumping to dodge is definitely a thing. Jump countering is like I don't actually know if we've done that in a lot of like RPGs, but like I don't think I've seen any other video games that use all of the same mechanics as Clair Obscur, if you get what I mean.
Yeah. No, but as I was saying, the Picto system is just lifted from FF9's system where you learn abilities and equipment and then you can use them later. So, like, I never didn't think of that. But I do feel like I have a complaint I have to say about, how do I want to call this? Not necessarily the UI, but a lot of the underlying mechanics outside of combat. For example, you have no quest tracker. If you want to know what you're doing, you have to go to TAMP and say, think about what you're doing, and leads on to the next thing. This is supremely unhelpful because there are sometimes side quests you can do that you completely forget about until you run across them later and you have no way to track them. For example, I did not realize that I would have missed off on Gustav's quest at the Gestro village because, well, guess what? I kind of forgot about it. Getting the Burgeon skin and taking it to the guy, I forgot about that until I started randomly getting Burgeon skin because guess what? There's a fuck ton of them. There's like a bunch of like little side quests all around and there's no way to track them. As for a game whose entire premise is to be, recording information and leaving for behind others, we sure not seem to do not a lot of that. We find a lot of other people's journeys, but we do not have one of our own that we can actually view and review. Same with like maps. Like, I can understand maybe if there's not like a minimap thing in the corner, cluttering up the UI. But do you know how many times I got fucking lost in areas because I'm running around in circles trying to find the one?
Yeah,
I
was just thinking about that earlier today. I like wandering around. Like, there's no map. There's no mini map. Sometimes there are a lot of like dead ends and circles and stuff. And like, I kind of feel like they're trying to beat the video game thing where you see the dead end and you're like, that's the way we go first. But I do that anyway, video game. You can't defeat that. I will go the way that's not the correct way to go to explore because you want me to find that thing there. You put a thing there, video game. You want me to go there. Don't be coy with me. But I was just thinking about how, like, you have a fucking compass arrow that always points north, and I'm just like, this is not helpful at all, actually. I don't fucking know which direction anything is because I don't have any points of reference.
No.
Like,
honestly, you don't even need the compass. You just turn around, you see the giant monolith, you're like, that's north.
Yeah, no, the monolith part makes it easy, but like it's like we were just talking about like environmental design, right? And I don't want to be like in a bad way. Everything looks the damn same, but also everything does look the damn same.
Well, when you're in the field, yes, you usually have a very strong theme of like red woods, basalt land, ruined city. It's like, and you will get fucking lost. And there are like shortcuts there. There are cliffs. There's ladders. There's jump points. There's all these little things. And I do not have any firm reference to keep track of where I am and what I've been doing. Like I said, I didn't need a mini map in the corner, but I wanted to be able to push a button and pull up a map of stuff that I have explored already. We are fucking expeditioners. We should be taking maps. We should be taking notes. We should be writing this shit down, and I should be able to review it at a time at my leisure.
And you do like write it down, like well, at least you can anyway. I meticulously always make sure to write in Gustav's journal. Like
yeah,
I said,
so it's like
I unlock the ability thing. So like you're canonically writing stuff down. You could keep quest notes. You could keep maps. Like I've done, character conversations at camp where, like, Lune is, like, updating the magical glowy diamond journal, just in case kind of a thing. So, like, you're keeping records.
Yeah, but you can't access any of them. So I'm like, that nettled me a little bit. Like I said, it puts a damper in exploration, especially when it's like...
No, I was just saying, I think it's either the expedition or the pause menu, but one of them in the field is, like, very minimal. It's only, like, 2 things, We could add some more menus.
We could have...
I think they were going for out of combat, like a very minimal UI, which I do understand, right? Like you're trying to paint this sort of like visual picture with the space, but gamer jokes about Ubisoft open world UIs aside, like I am a big fan of getting information as the player and knowing what the fuck I'm doing.
Yeah.
So yeah, like I said, I it's just funny that like I was playing earlier today. I've been playing in the week to try and catch up and get through it so we can talk about some broader thematic stuff, because I know you said you might have a few things to touch on there and discuss it in full. But like I was literally like thinking to myself like, oh yeah, I got turned around again. Pause, look around. Oh yeah, there is no map. There's a compass arrow for some reason. What the fuck is that gonna do for me? Like so some of these are they'll stick with you.
Mm-hmm.
Any other gameplay things, I guess, then since we're on that jump out at you?
Equipment, all weapons are not made equal, and I think that is to a detriment. There are some that are clearly going to be used more than others. Despite that, like I think I've only used maybe like a couple weapons like per character. Despite getting like dozens for like each one, I'm just all like, okay, cool.
I'm thinking about it. There's a lot of them, but it's like you said earlier, right? The devs of E33 are not afraid of you breaking their game. They give you a lot of options between, Picto/Luminas and your choice of abilities and your choice of weapons. But you have a very limited number of slots on your characters. You have 1 weapon slot, 3 Picto slots, 6 skill slots, and then as many Luminas as you can math out. I don't know what the cap is.
There is no cap.
Okay, so hypothetically, if you could feed them, you could get more points.
I think I'm at like 300 Luminas per character right about now, maybe more.
That's pretty good. Like, and that's obviously where like the stuff comes. But like you said, not everything is made equal. Like, there are definitely some weird niche weapons and some weird niche Luminas that I'm just not sure what the fuck I do with.
No, like I said, I do think that the developers want to give players options, but fun fact, I'm gonna break the secret out. Players don't like options. Players like the most effective tactic to use in any given situation, and they will constantly slam that option over and over and over again until it doesn't work.
I mean, I will say this. I think there are genres of games that are kind of defined by doing, weird niche builds. Turn-based JRPG-style RPGs are not usually it, other than to find the most broken combo. Like, Baldur's Gate style CRPGs are usually where people are like, hey, can I complete the game with like a really weird build? Like, there are types of games where people do build experimentations.
I mean, well, I'm gonna cut you off there. It's like, yeah, there are that, but I remember a stat from BG3 where they talked about the most common made character was just a human fighter, a male human fighter, so they could get in and do the same thing. Like, even in like, outliers are outliers, but still a majority of players went for the most effective thing and ran it.
I don't know if human fighter was necessarily. That would be a little odd if it was the most effective. But human would usually gets you what, bonus feats? People like feats.
Yeah.
Definitely like people will run to a lot of the familiar, the samey.
Yeah, it's because generally they want to use the most effective tactics so they can hit the most of the highest difficulties and crow about it on Twitter.
God knows that like playing like Dragon Age, right? It's like almost always the most popular was mages because that usually was you did the most explosive shit.
Yeah. And it's what's the joke about like D&D, like once you hit like plus 10, you don't have a wizard, you ain't actually clearing shit. You will not be able to do enough damage or get enough past damage resistance without a wizard in the party to just do big burst damage. So no, it's like one of those things. Like, yes, you can do weird experimental niche builds in like many in video games, but generally people will flock towards the tried and true, most damage. It's like even I fell into the trap just because, like I said, I'm trying to get to level 99. I have to do a lot of grinding. So guess what? I equipped Versa with a bunch of I do a lot of damage, and he was hitting Phantom Stars and just doing like, oh god, like I think he was hitting about like when he was hitting like 3 enemies at once, he was hitting about like 6 million damage a turn.
Woo! Big ass numbers.
Yes, no. Fun fact: the best grinding. Well, I don't know if it's the best, but the quickest grinding spot is in a place called Renoir's Draft. You fight the merchant there. If you can beat him on the first turn, which is first possible, you get like 2 million experience points a pop, and then you can just fight the merchant again, so you don't have to go respawn enemies to keep fighting them.
That is pretty good.
Yeah, that's what Lucky had to do from basically levels 90 to 99 for all characters.
But yeah, no, I was just thinking earlier talking about like different builds. You like just made me think of like that's the stealth archer problem. How do you make your game not just be stealth archer? Well, probably means that you need to make it not so damn effective.
Yeah.
What's that? Enemies don't see me and are too far away to hurt me? That sounds great.
Yeah. I love being stealth archer. I love being the sniper. It's fun. It's cool.
Also, honestly, like specifically about like Skyrim design, I've tried to do like a wizard build. Your magicka regen's never that good, and sometimes enemies shoot spells that suck out your magicka. Boy howdy, it sure sucks to be a magic guy and then you run out of magic juice. You cast like 4 spells. It is like D&D, except, you have a mana bar. You cast 4 spells and then you're tuckered out. You gotta wait.
Well, this is why you gotta have like 800 mana potions on hand.
That's kind of the way it is for anybody in Skyrim. Like, if you're actually fighting, you're spending... Even if you're arching, the tactical slow-mo zooms, consume stamina. So, like, you chug a lot of potions, but, like, that's another thing that's, like, very, very disruptive to constantly be pausing and, chugging potions, eating cheese wheels. But it's the thing you do. But, yeah, like, I think any game with a certain amount of math to it will have optimization. But I think that, like you said, too much customization can almost be, like... Not quite a trap, because it isn't like that kind of D&D build where there's like necessarily bad options, but definitely like I am at a stage where I'm looking at all the fucking Pictos I've mastered in my Luminas and looking at all my weapons and going like, am I gonna use some of this stuff? There's a lot of stuff here, man. What am I gonna pick out all this stuff? Am I gonna miss it? So you can't have too much stuff. But I assume the game designers, talking about it, they at least made the game they wanted to make, probably. So if they have fun with 10,000 character abilities, that's okay. But it definitely can be a holder. How do you... Because I've talked about this before, and I think we talked about it a little before, but I do want to ask now with you kind of the game completed. How do you feel about the... Oh, God, what do we want to call it? The reaction commands, basically, of turn-based combat?
Personally, I do think that I kind of like it. Like I said, first I got too fussed about trying to parry everything. Then I learned to be okay with dodging attacks. Yeah, you don't get you don't get the counter attack, but also you don't get fucking smacked because dodging has a magic thing. So that got some used to, and I do like but when everything goes together, it does make you feel like you are the master of combat. Master combat, except when the enemies do, unblockable, undodgeable moves, and you're just like, okay, game, thanks. But most things, like 99.9% of the things in the game can either be parried or dodged, and that's a powerful feeling, I think. Like you feel like in control of the combat more than ever. You're in control in attack, and you're in control on defense, which, like I said earlier, is a powerful feeling.
I think it's definitely kind of like skill rewarding. I talked about this like way when I first played the game. I thought it was really interesting to kind of like keep you, locked in on your off turns, kind of a thing. And like you said, it gives you a lot of control. I do think that like there are parts of it that I do not necessarily like. Is some of the stuff is just like some of these guys do have really long combos. Spend some time down, but that's another thing that like you've said and other people have said that like, well, once you can break the damage cap, if you have all the go first abilities equipped, you can't just blow up guys before they get to take their forehead combo.
No, so I think one of the problems I have with the thing is like it's not necessarily the long windups and stuff, like because every enemy has like particular animations. I think the problem I have is when like you will run into like they have, the classic JRPG thing, you'll run into an old mob later and they'll be stronger and stuff. They'll still have the same moves, but they'll add like additional combos and you never quite know when a combo's gonna stop. And it's oddly tense sometimes. God, I can't remember.
Yeah, that's just one of those things that it's a thing that where like sorry, I'm having a thought I'm trying to articulate here. Because I was reminded of something that you said probably 2 or 3 weeks ago, because we were talking about, battles, and it's like, well, you can abandon any fight and kind of, like, checkpoint to before it, but the game frames that as a game over, expedition has failed, and it's like, well, that's not quite correct. I'm not actually game overing, I'm resetting the checkpoint, and you phrase it as a game over state for some reason. And, like, framing is interesting. I've talked before about how, like, I I put quite a lot of hours, more hours than into E33 so far, into Marathon, and, like, I have not really felt bad necessarily about getting, like, just fucking, you know, schwacked by players most of the time, you know, the clock into the lose everything factory, etc. Like, it truly does not bother me in a way that I thought it might, because I have that problem with the lose everything factory of Dark Souls.
Mhm.
Probably because, I don't know, it feels like the progression windup is you're supposed to be leveling up, and you're also getting good, and, like, sometimes the E33 presentation feels a little weird, because, like, technically, it's a modern video game, you are auto-saving a decent amount, you're checkpointing fights, if you game over, I think you can just restart any fight from the top, like, so you're not really losing anything if you just get your ass clowned on and die, but the game frames it as, like, you got your ass beat, and you should feel bad, you failed.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, it creates this weird, like, I think, like, psychological thing where, like, technically, you don't lose any time to just, you know, learn the combos, like you said, you know, whether it's earlier enemies where, yeah, they mostly have the same tells, where, like, I've already felt myself getting back into the groove where I'm like, oh, this guy's gonna do this guy, and this guy's gonna do that, even if I am it's a personal pet peeve. I am a little annoyed when enemies do try and, like, hold their attacks for, like, 9 million years to throw me off. I get it, but also I am a little peeved. You know, it's again, not a deal breaker, but it does peeve me. And like you said, when later enemies, like, extend their combos, it's like, well, you know, are you really losing if you do get hit by a bunch of attacks and, like, have to reset and you know, learn the timing? You know, when you know. But it does kind of feel like you are losing a little bit if you get bonked on the head 6 times because you didn't know it would be 6 hits, you know? It's like, it's one of those presentation things.
Mm-hmm.
Is it actually bad wrong? Probably not, but it does feels bad, man, sometimes, you know?
Yeah. So, like, I do think that Clair Obscura was designed in mind for gamers who want challenge in their content and are willing to break a game over its kneecaps to, you know, hit the big numbers. But also, you know, it had a very strong, compelling storyline and good characters in it, along with a bitchin' ass soundtrack.
So, Lucky, you've heard about the Boomer shooters.
Oh yeah.
In fact, Mouse PI just came out. People are saying it's pretty good. You know, Clair Obscura almost really feels like it is kind of in the same vein, but for like turn-based RPGs. Like, it does do the stuff that, like, old school turn-based JRPGs did, where, like, yeah, you can do some busted ass shit in old school Final Fantasies, you know? And other games like that, in addition to just power leveling. And you do really usually latch on to like the character and story beats in those games. Obviously, some of them are, like, stronger than others. But yeah, I think it is kind of in that vein where it does kind of appeal to a broader nostalgia about, like, hey, remember when you could fucking break games? Because I think there are a decent number of modern video games that are kind of like, well, since we can automatically digitally update this video game, we can fix these issues where you do broken shit. You broke our math. We don't like it. We'll patch it. You know, some games are like that these days, but you know, like I said, giving you the tools, Clair Obscura is kind of like a deliberate throwback. You know, the developers have said it is kind of a love letter to the style of games they enjoyed when they were younger.
Yeah,
which is like I said, I appreciate a good love letter. Like, if you really like something and you can kind of, like, write a throwback to be like, hey, this is the shit we thought was cool. Look at this. That's neat. But yeah, definitely I think, like you said, it's got some challenge, it's got some teeth.
No, so I can understand why Clair Obscura won many of the awards. I do think there might be some people might have been a little too much on the hype train, though, for several things. But ultimately, I think a lot of the praise it got was well deserved.
Yeah, I think, you know, not having beat it, but having played it before, like, the Game Awards came out, I think the conclusion I kind of came to was, you know, like, it is a pretty strong video game, it's pretty cool, it's doing some stuff, and it's doing some stuff that's, like, appealing to people a little more broadly than you might think with some games, you know, because, like, it was lower price point, was, you know, on everything earlier, except, like, normal Switch. I wonder, is there a Switch 2 version? They could probably do a Switch 2 version of E33. I wonder about that. But, like it had a little bit more of a broader access than some games, but I definitely also feel like people thought Claire Obscure Sweep was a joke, and then it kind of happened, and then people were like, wait a minute, this means thing I liked also did not win. So, like, I think there was kind of like the hype curve, right? Like, it really peaked around the Game Awards when it won a shitload of awards, and then, like, the hype curve kind of went down where there was more pushback.
Yeah, probably.
It'll be interesting to see what people say, like, oh, by Game Awards, this year, or, like, in, like, 5 years, where people are kind of at about it. But, I'll keep playing it myself, and like I said, we'll be able to talk about some broader themes, I hope.
Yeah.
And I am glad to hear what you had to say. Anything else at all about E33 you'd like to be saying?
There's some things I probably want to talk about the story and how I hate stuff, but that involves spoilers for the end and other things, so I can't talk about them right now.
All right, you hold on to them.
I will hold on to them.
And then I'll see myself how it feels. Ugh. All right. Sorry, that was a weird, funny thing posted in general. Well then, why don't we talk a little bit about 14? FF14 specifically.
Final Fantasy!
We just got the live letter from the producer. It was a big old one. But we talked about a variety of things coming with the first chunk of patch 7.5. And they did say that it will be a two-part. But yeah, Trail to the Heavens seems like it's going to be pretty bigly. Got a lot of stuff going on. Obviously, strongly seems like we are setting up our plot stuff going on in the future. Big dramatic stuff happening. There's some stuff going on with our weird key that is a cup, and also might transform into other things. Decent amount of dialogue and stuff going on from Halmorut. So bigly plot stuff, obviously, but also quite a few more things showing off. I saw in the trailer, many things going on. Lots of people are excited. There was a couple of shots of Zero coming back.
Yeah!
People are happy about that. I saw what looked like our boy Inspector Hildebrand leading a large dance number, perhaps, for like a few seconds.
No, it's important.
And yes, so they also showed that it seems like in addition to a couple of other mounts, we'll be able to get Inspector Harderboyle's custom bike.
Yeah.
That's also very important because that was really cool.
It was really cool. I think you even said, like, when we saw it, I was like, can we get that bike?
Yeah, I saw it, and I'm like, man, that's neat. I'd love to, especially because he talked about how customized it is, and I'm like, man, I paid like, oh my god, how much was it? 6 mil? 6.5 mil? 7 mil?
7.5 million.
Ugh. I paid 7.5 million gil for the Air Rider, and I didn't get to pick any options. I didn't get warmed, seats. But yeah, so that was pretty cool to see. But they showed off quite a lot of stuff. Showed off some raid stuff. Shentoto's gonna, oh ho ho laugh at us.
Yep.
Gonna summon 12 ley lines. Legalized nuclear bombs, looks like. So that'll be very fun. I'm sure we're gonna have a wacky wild time. But there are also a lot of systems being added. Double checking some of the screen caps that some of the people have showed. We're updating glamour outfits, and it says that dungeons added from 3.0 onward will be eligible to store as outfit glamour.
Yes.
Period.
I imagine the dungeon rating is going to get intense.
Maybe we'll get some decent spreads. But yeah, that's just gonna, all your dungeon gear is gonna be able to squish down into the full set will be one item. You can also remove individual pieces from your outfit glamours. You can slurp them straight out. So that's a very, very good brew. Yeah, raid gear will be great. Maybe in a future one. They phrased this as more convenient crafting. So with the crafting log open, players will be able to perform the following actions: consume food potions, move items in their inventory, join or leave parties and operate link shells, and change classes and jobs. Thanks. That's great.
No, it's important. It's weird when you have to get completely out of the crafting menu and go, like, switch stuff around and go right back into it. It ruins the flow sometimes.
Or just the sheer panic of, like, you're in the middle of something and you're like, oh shit, I needed, hold on, I can't accept this party invite. I'm deep in the menus, kind of a thing.
Mm-hmm.
Or you're deep in the menus crafting and you're like, oh shit, my queue popped. I need to dive out of several menus to switch jobs. So hopefully, more convenient. I like the way they phrase that. That's always good to see these little things. And I've seen several people very, very excited about it. interesting that, I guess trying to make our OG animal companion not feel left out with all the Beastmaster stuff they also showed, which is looking pretty slick. That'll be a very fun time to get into. But updating your Chocobo companion to add some new animations based on your rank, and also they will now react to pet and poke emotes. That's pretty cool. Let's see. We showed off some of our final relic weapon steps, looking very glowy and fancy. Oh, I might have to invest in that Black Mage staff. That's got candles on it. That's pretty cool. And they did do some mounts as well that we talked about. There's the Omega Raid hand.
Yeah, again, I'm very curious where that comes from.
Yeah, I hope it's just like a not a small thing, but like not a too crazy of a thing they got going on there. There's the biblically accurate Warrior of Light thing where you're just like a weird collection of wings. I am personally gonna assume that's gonna be the like capstone for all the EXs.
Yes, that is.
Okay. Oh my god, sorry, I didn't see this one before. There's a platypus you can ride now. He's got a little stick. Yeah, and you got your big wings and your bundle of wings. The hand is probably the PvP mount, but we'll see. Because, we just had a mount, so they might have something else next Crystalline Conflict season. But yeah, there's some gear for Beastmaster, there's logs. Oh, number 1 is dog, that's cool. I saw myself a bunch of other quality of life updates. They're updating the some sightseeing log stuff, so now it will let you know if you reach a vista, it will say what emote you need to do, rather than guessing, and will tell you if there's a specific time or weather condition you have to do it. It will just say, not the right weather or time, which is just good, because that is one of those things that sometimes is just like, I don't know what they'll be doing. Ooh, actually, that's pretty cool. We saw the new raid gear, which is, very nice. Obviously, it's 11 themed, but a little up-resed, and it's looking good. Very color coordinated. That Red Mage gear looking pretty good. But they were going to be getting a new Crystalline Conflict, and apparently there's 2 checkpoints. That's cool.
Yeah, it's a little crazy.
Let's see. Winters. Yeah, all in all, just lots of very strong stuff they're showing off. There's a new planet for cosmic exploration. But it's gonna be super fun times. Lots of big content for the patch. Because, we're gonna have new dungeon, new trial, obviously MSQ to go with them. The new limited job obviously is pretty cool. We'll be getting the last Alliance raid, and also the second zone of Occult Crescent. Presumably in the rotation, we'll be getting, new Hildebrand after a while. It's all just really, really cool stuff. I have been making sure to, in addition to all the other video games I'm here to take a crack at, like I said, catching up on E33, and haven't yet, hoping to do it tomorrow, but playing some, get back into playing some Marathon, because they've had kind of like a half-season update, new balance changes, new modes, new weird stuff that are all interesting to check out. But I have been playing 14 as well, making sure to do PvP, grinding tomestones for various things. Oh, sorry. Burp came up. Checking out the Occult Crescent. We did that for a decent chunk of time on Tuesday. Maybe next week I'll title the stream, Who Up Occulting Thy Crescent? Or some other suitably silly comment. We just kind of did some usual random stuff on last week's stream, which included what I now have titled the stream to. Just our most unhinged run of Cloud Deck of Diamond Weapon ever. Like, not necessarily good, not necessarily bad, we didn't wipe, but just the wacky wild times. It was certainly interesting. And like, I did end the stream earlier because I was feeling a little ill, so like I did all that while being a little off kilter.
Yeah.
Sorry, I just mentally flashed back to the 3-card Monty with the elevators and me just flying through the stack in the elevator and then being dead at the other end. I'm just like, I'm dead? I've died?
Contact was super cursed.
Couple of memes. Yeah, you said we had some fun. We had some fun, like I said, off stream at Occult Crescent, but that was very much more like just bee's knees as usual.
Mm-hmm.
And seeing that boy howdy even synced people be killing those fates fast.
Yep. Oh, excuse me.
Yeah, sorry, yawn. But the live letter was very, very big and long, so I have not digested every little thing, but I've seen some of the highlights they've been posting, and it seemed pretty cool. And we're oh so close to FanFest. Like we said, next show will be after the keynote, so we'll have some initial shit to be talking about, I'm sure. Oh, and the end of the trailer does tease the new Ultimate. It is kind of. I think Yoshi P was saying it would be kind of something that would be unexpected, and I gotta say, I think he was right. Teasing Kefka at the end there.
Yep.
I mean, that was a pretty interesting. That is one of the Savages we've done. That was a pretty interesting one. So will also be interesting. But yes, was definitely like something I don't think a lot of people were expecting to see. But he is pretty popular. Yes, I've seen that joke. Yes. How it's actually phrased? It's gather up with 7 other clowns to do an ultimate, only to discover that there are in fact 9 clowns in this raid. Yeah, I can only imagine what wacky wild shit Kefka Palazzo is going to bring to the table.
Oh, it's going to be wild. They usually go pretty hard on the ultimates.
Yeah, I don't know anything about the mechanics, but I've seen the like aesthetics and like tone of like Fru, so it's like, yeah, no, we could do some wacky stuff. Cause it's like he's like on the like the statue of the Triad. Maybe that'll actually come into play. All kinds of weird shit.
Clearly, you're actually gonna have to do some fighting with Sephiroth, Sophia, and Zervan.
Oh my god! Even if they're like minor, him working those mechanics in. Can you imagine like you're in the middle of Kefka and his like question AoEs and shit and all that other stuff. Literally him casting Heartless Angel because he was the first to set your HP to 1, and then just like Sophia Scales come in. Did you count the weight, buddy? You're gonna slide. I'm pretty sure there's no there's no walls on the arena in either Kefka normal or Savage. I think you can go clean off. A hazard for anyone with a back jump. God, and Sephiroth has like his push punches. Yeah, that could be mean. But yeah, no. Always exciting to see cool stuff out of 14. I'm sure we'll be yapping about it later. Like I said, Keynote's very exciting. New X-Pac soon. Gonna love the sun. Oh my god, yes, no, Zervan. Is it opposite or matching? The ultimate question I can never remember. And but that's the thing so too. Kefka's question marks would fuck it up because he could make it the other way. Literally confuse you mid mechanic. Ugh, no, I'm getting shivers just thinking about it. No, but you were saying like there's so many 14 fights that are just like, wait, is it matching or opposite? I don't remember. I think the one version of that mechanic I can almost always tell is magnets because it's just like, well, magnets are magnets no matter what. Opposites attract, same repel. Yeah, triangles or squares. Larboard, starboards, all kinds of things. But yeah, I know. Like as usual, there is a decent amount of rattling of sabers, ruffling of feathers about kind of the overall on Dawn Trail. But I think generally people like the combat content so far. Like it's a lot more serious. I think so many times when we are doing like dailies or other stuff, right? Like there are so many moments these days, right, where one of us will be in the call and go, "Oh, I can't believe I got away with that," right? Because we're so used to the Dawn Trail mechanics being very tight timing and just being like, oh, well, I'm getting hit. And sometimes you just got to get hit by a tree. Because you never know when a giant flying manatee's going to throw a tree at you.
Oh, mechanics are hard.
Mechanics are hard. Jobs could be hard. That is something, like I said, I'm interested for the keynote because that's something they've said before, that 8X is going to be some job rewiggling. Yeah,
I wonder if we're going to get it in this initial keynote, but who knows?
I feel like we'll probably get like a pitch about it, but I'm imagining it'll be like a bullet point slide that will just be like, hey, we are going to be doing job adjustments for 8.0. And maybe like, what do we mean by that? Some ideas. But like, that would probably have to be like its own series of videos, I assume, about like a bunch of job changes, just because that's kind of how 14 is. Anything else you may or may not have seen in the live letter? I almost said live letter funny.
No, like I said, I did watch the live letter and I'm excited, but I'm much more interested in the FanFest keynote.
That will be the biggin, but would be vibbin. All right, well, let's see. Any other? There's a lot of other video game news happening. Any other video game stuff you want to shout out? We talked already. Pregnant is out, scoring good.
Pregnant's out, scoring good. As soon as we get done with here, if nothing else comes up, I'll get diving straight into that. I'm very excited for the game. Reviewing well, good vibes all around. There are several other games that have come out this week that I am interested. Mouse PI for Hire has come out, reviewing very well. A lot of people seem to like the particular vibes and story of that one as well as the gameplay.
I've seen some gameplay videos of Mouse PI. It's looking good, yeah.
Another game that I actually came out this week that I'm actually interested in is Replacer, a game I saw on Steam. It's 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 a pixel art cyberpunk adventure, but it seems to have very strong vibes. Have you seen the trailer for it yet? I know I
did actually watch the trailer today because you talked about it. Yes, it is. Yeah. It's amazing what you can get done with pixels these days, kids.
It really is.
Like it's just it's nominally like a 2D side scroll art style with pixels, but like they do some stuff with like depth of field that looked really interesting in the trailer.
Oh yeah,
depth and like of otherwise field. Just a lot of what to say, like the feel, like just
a lot of good action feel.
Yes,
like camera shakes at it's not like constantly shaking hand, but the camera shakes. Man, sometimes you'll dramatic zoom in. Like they have a demo out on Steam. I do highly recommend you trying it out. It's just like a little piece, but it does give you a very good vibe. Combat's a little simple, and platforming isn't particularly hard, but the basis of the story is basically your character, when you're replaced, you're an AI that has accidentally taken over the body of your creator, and you're trying to fix that. So, and like there's a whole like big dystopia thing, like a lot of humanity's like, behind the wall, which is, semi-utopian, and there's a whole world outside the wall, and you go from one life to another as an AI, and it's like, so I'm very interested in the particular vibes of it. Oh god, I love playing the demo. Like
in the Steam page to make sure it's on my wish list, and yeah, I see that.
No, something I loved about the thing, when you play as Warren, but the AI never refers to itself; it always refers to Warren, the owner of the body. So like it never like says I, or so it's like Warren, we got to get out of here. It's like, oh no, it's like there's like very details. Particular vibes.
I like seeing like the cameras and the stuff in there. There's one shot in the trailer that's really good of like being in the glass paned elevator and just does the fucking depressed slump down. I'm like, man, nah, pixels are good.
No, yeah.
I'll try and check out the demo as well.
Yeah, I would check out the demo. So that does seem very exciting. I've already put that on my wish list. If it goes on sale or if I find myself fluffed with extra cash, I'll probably pick it up. But like I said, the backlog is big and only getting bigger. I realized recently that Monster Hunter Stories 1 and 2 are free on PlayStation Plus, so I decided to pick them both up. Like I said, I would not call myself, referring to a conversation we had a little while ago, I would not consider myself an expert on Monster Hunter, but I do consider myself a fan. So I like to try to immerse myself in the media when possible, and I have heard interesting things about the Monster Hunter Stories series. I heard 3 is actually reviewing quite well, which, is another feather in Capcom cap. But Lucky is one of those people who likes to go back to the beginning, so I picked up Monster Hunter Stories 1. And frankly, the shorthand of Monster Hunter Stories, it's Monster Hunters for Saturday morning cartoons, which is kind of amazing in its own way. Like I said, a lot of monsters have been chibified. You look like you're a fucking, you look like you're an anime preteen. You have a giant cat, feline mascot who does all the talking for you, and everything's about the power of, everything's kind of about the, powers of friendship and bonding and stuff. Be nice to your monster best friends, your monster besties, your monsties, if you will. Yes, as the game's gone further, they do look like they have been going for a more and more mature feel, but the first one was very much, baby's first Monster Hunter, with, fairly simple, mechanics and the leveling up structures, and a very, kid-friendly kind of environment. Things are very bright, very colorful. It's funny, like, you fight, monsters and you can hatch them from eggs, and the versions you get look like, just like, kind of like stunted versions of their actual counterparts.
Yeah, if people don't know, I did actually decide to look this up. It was originally released for 3DS in Japan originally in 2016. So it's the first one's is about 10 years old, but like definitely is like you said, right, like kidified, like definitely is seems like it's supposed to be like a jump on point for a younger audience.
Yeah, like I said, combat is fairly simple. Basically, you play rock paper scissors. You basically have 3 attacks that you can cycle through: power, speed, and technical. Speed beats power, technical beats speed, power beats technical.
Also known as Buster, Quick, and Arts. We really like that triangle.
Generally, you want to, beat your opponent in rock, paper, scissors and not get beaten in rock, paper, scissors. So, but like I said, it's playing the first one, I definitely feel like it's a Saturday morning cartoon. But it's still fun in its own ways. It's a game where while you still fucking kill monsters and, wear them, you can, build bonds and relationship with, the monsters that you can. They speak more. Like, this is back in 2016. They're talking about, monsters are part of the land and the nature. We cannot abuse them. Yes, we kill them, but, we do so with respect. And there are, several antagonists in the game which are all like, yes, I'm just going to use monsters to do whatever the fuck I want. Or monsters are, should be killed because they're a fucking problem. So, like I said, it's very, for, younger audiences.
Yeah, kind of simplified, kind of over exaggerated, but still, you got some cool stuff.
Yeah, no, it's cool. It's cool. It's very cool. I do know, Monster Hunter Stories 2, Wings of Ruin, and 3, what is 3's called? Twisted Reflections, I believe?
Yes.
They get, they basically age up with every entry, from what I understand. Like I said, I do believe they keep, the colorful art style, but, the characters age up, the art gets a little bit more serious, and I do believe, the stakes get a little bit more serious every time. Not saying that the stakes aren't serious, but they're not, there's a difference in stakes between, your Saturday morning cartoons and your fucking, I'm trying to think of a good thing, and your primetime TV, I guess.
Yeah.
But, like I said, that's probably going to be being put on pause, because like I said, I have Pragmata queued up. I keep, glancing over at my PS5, is it time? It's unfortunately, we're in the intro cutscene, so I can't hecking, Aaron in the comments talking about how the end is always epic results. I accept so. Monster Hunter usually can do a finale pretty damn good, usually. But no, I am glad to be adding, this game to my knowledge, because it is a bit different. Like I said, it's a 10-year-old game. It's been made for younger audiences, so it's not going to land perfectly for me every time. But like I said, I'm just considering this a stepping stone on to the next one. Like I said, I already got Wings of Ruin downloaded, and I'm excited to get to that one.
Yeah, I know I've been interested in checking out Stories since they put them up there. They added them to PS Plus, absolutely, because 3 just came out.
Oh, yeah. I don't know if it's on Steam. If it's on Steam, you should go check. Like I said, JRPGs are definitely one of those games I like playing on console so I can lay in bed, especially when I'm doing turn-based stuff.
Mm-hmm. Well, and also, it's also there. Yeah, 3 should be on PC because it's a modern Capcom release. Came out a couple months ago, but 1 and 2 are free on PS Plus, which is, that's the point.
This is why I pay, $100 a year?
Yeah.
But, let's see here. I do believe that's it. I don't have any Pragmata thoughts. Me and the rest of the Nikkei lads are getting super excited for Nikkei's 3.5 anniversary, which should be kicking off next week. We have the stream for it tonight. There are already leaks abound and predictions all over the place, but everyone I know who plays Nikkei is excited for it. There are a couple naysayers out there, which is, the usual. Some people just don't like other people having fun. I don't understand this, but that's how it is. Come next week, Lucky might become a blubbering mess, as he always does around major Nikkei events. Let's see here. I still have Space Marine 2 installed. I haven't been playing much because I've been trying to play everything else. And Space Marine 2 is definitely a game that I play with people. Not on my own.
No. I'm enjoying, our group sessions. Aaron and I even got a couple of extra missions. Spoilers, if we go back to do that with you, we're not going to have so much fun because it's a chaos mission.
No, I don't like that.
I
don't like chaos.
Don't like them. But, it still is fun to do with people and to get through level ups and stuff. It's got a pretty robust system, but yeah, I agree that I've done a couple of side missions to level some alt classes on my own, and I'm just it just doesn't feel the same,
Yeah.
It's more fun when we can hang out and do stuff.
No, so like I said, I probably won't be getting any Space Marine 2 recently. I'm probably gonna be all in on Pragmata, trying to get that done. And probably going to go back to Monster Hunter, stories like that. I am glad I got Expedition 33 off the backlist. That means I can slide that off the fucking list. Like I said, I still need to, I think my game, after I get done with Pragmata and Monster Hunter Stories 1 and 2, is to get back to Persona 3 Reloaded and finally knock that one out. It is, such a weird thing to me to know that I have beaten the game, but not actually be able to remember any of it. It's so weird. Like I said, I want to, strike that from my that black mark off my history. But other than that, no, I think that's it for games. For anime, everyone should watch Gals Can't Be Kind to Otaku. Just watch it. I'm not explaining shit. Just watch it. It's cute, it's beautiful, it's lovely, it's amazing.
He's just like, I ain't gotta explain shit. It's magic.
Like I said, I have been reading that manga since chapter 1, and I am super glad we have reached here today. Also, oh god, they don't call it the Barbarian's Bride in the fucking manga. What do they call it? They call it something different. What do they call it?
Chat, help him out. I don't know.
Sorry, I had to pull up my fucking... I'm pulling up my damn Crunchyroll and looking. Oh yes, the Warrior Princess and the Barbarian King. I do not know why we went with that and just not called it the Barbarian's Bride. That's what the fucking Japanese manga is called. That's what the English manga is called. You guys are weird. I do not understand localization choices. I really don't.
Wonder. That's a pretty simplistic title. Is there a possible copyright comparison out there?
There actually not. I think
sometimes
there might be.
You do make some weird changes. I think I've mentioned before. Like, I'm not a One Piece guy, but I know that like in the Viz manga translation, like they changed Zoro's name to Zolo, and they keep it that way to this day because they're very worried about upsetting the classic literary Zoro trademark. Because I think the House of Mouse might be involved. So like that shit happens sometimes where you suddenly have to weird shit. It's like all the stuff with like the JoJo anime, you know, changing stand names and stuff. Because like I don't actually think that any music act has made a big deal out of it. It's just one of those things that the lawyers are like, we should probably change this just in case. And sometimes it's funny, but sometimes it is not. Where like I'll be real. I actually think, despite the fact that I am generally a sub watcher, Dan of Steel, that's way funnier than Steely Dan. But then sometimes they're lame. They just, instead of Limp Bizkit, they called it in the subtitles, because they wrote it that way, Limp Bizkit. That's not fun.
They should have called them Soggy Crackers.
I believe the manga went with Flaccid Pancake. So that's the thing. The manga translations of JoJo have some really good alterations. Flaccid Pancake, filthy acts at a reasonable price instead of dirty deeds done for cheap. Yes. No, X also said it. Like that's another one that's like they've got a few of those. So like yeah,
something so bad it's just good.
Like that I appreciate when we get out there. But yeah, no, that seems like an odd localization change to go to a longer name, but that might be more copyright safe. I don't know.
I do not. I am one of those people. I generally prefer subs over dubs. 9 times out of 10, there are some very good ones out there, which I don't want to discredit, but sometimes I look at localization choices. I'm like, come on, guys, we could have done better than this. But unfortunately, I am not someone who is in those circles. I am not in that industry, so unfortunately, my gripes and complaints are merely my own, which is something I think that people need to realize. Like, this is going to back to that conversation I had about being fans versus an expert. Like, I can be a fan of something all I want and base my opinions on being a fan, but at no point will I ever base my opinions like I am not some sort of expert on this. There are things that I would like for ways to be. There are reasons I think for this, but I will never say this is how it should be done. Because guess what? I'm not in that industry. I'm just a fan. It reminds me of there was I'm gonna paraphrase it, but there was basically a line from Tita Kubo, guy who wrote Bleach, who basically spoke about people who speak loudly and openly about other people's creative works and whatnot, and basically said to the effect of like, if you think you can make a better manga than Bleach, then you should make it. If it is indeed better than Bleach, it will sell a fuck ton and you will be great. If you cannot draw or are not talented, you should become an editor and work with people in such industries and get to know and understand these things. But if you are not talented or willing to work on a manager and you are not going to, immerse yourself into industry, then you're just being kind of a disgusting leech on the fandom and no one should take you seriously. And I'm all like, yes.
Yeah, Kubo was really spitting in those latter years of Bleach because he was in the ugly part of the industry of, the editors breathing down his necks. The fandom was never sure what was going to happen next.
No, so
and
it's
now that
it's
like they're
definitely
doing 1,000-Year Blood Arc, like he's like, you know, a returning emeritus professor. We're like, oh, Kubo Sensei, we saw the vision all along. I was there.
It's like,
Y'all did not see the vision.
no. So it's like one of those things that like I always speak about. It's like unless you're actually someone in the industry or, you know, close related to the industry, you do not have any leg to stand on with your opinion. It is merely your opinion. And like I said, even though I have like, you know, strong opinions on what on such things, that's all they are going to be. They're going to be opinions, not facts.
And sometimes you have weaker opinion. Like, that reminds me, honestly, of our, like, E33 conversation where I'm like, yeah, I've got some pet peeves, but, like, I've never made a turn-based RPG, so what the fuck do I know,
Yeah.
right? Like, I
don't
think
know.
the game designers made the game they wanted to make, at least.
Yeah.
Like, you can say that about some video games and other artistic products, right? They're made by committee, and you can tell, and usually they're worse for it. But, like, you know, depending on the limitations of the work, so it's like, yeah, you know, localization, anime dubbing, translating, even subbing, like, sometimes is like, okay, sometimes I don't know what's going on here, but also, I don't know your life.
Yeah, I don't know the reasons why you do these things. I
Maybe-
don't like it. Whatever reasons
maybe-
they are, I don't like them, but I don't know them.
You know, and sometimes they're not the fault of the translator. Like, you never know. Maybe that was that guy's, you know, fifth, you know, anime to subtitle that day, because the company won't hire another translator, or can't hire another translator. They can't find them. Because, as you said, people bitch online about how the subs are wrong. Infiltrated by the woke agenda, as opposed to, like, I don't know, why don't you try and get hired? Why don't you try and arrange some licensing deals?
No, everyone's using fucking Chat GPT to do their translations now. And then they try to pass them off as something real. Like, not
that I
talking
do
like
know
for,
that
like,
a
anime.
lot of people are fucking going apeshit with y'all know about MTL, machine translation.
I never managed. I personally don't mind machine translations or GPT. It's just what bugs me is when people try to make a buck off of it, or they put like absolutely no effort into editing things. I've been like I said, lucky as someone who reads. I read translated light novels and web novels online.
I don't hate their guts. Like, some people are like, oh, this is MTL trash garbage. Like, I
No.
know it was. But sometimes those people are also like, your MTL is bad because, hey, buddy, you didn't fucking edit this.
Yes, no. If they use MTL and do not edit it, I despise those people. You'll still, like sometimes you'll see the chat prompt in there. Sometimes they'll have retranslated. They'll have like paused lines. Sometimes the names change. You know, in 1 second,
Names
one
change
sentence
are
the other.
bad.
And I'm just like,
Another thing is always
Like,
like, especially for languages like Japanese, because they're ambiguous, pronouns can be all over the place.
yes, I'm like I don't care that you use machine translation to understand a language you do not speak. That's fine. God, I thrive off Grok on Twitter translating Japanese for me. Fuck, because we have that auto translation on Shredder, there has been like so much communication between Japan and US in the past months. It's kind of crazy. It all started from a fucking barbecue grill game.
The reverse Tower of Babel. Yeah, that kind of like that was funny, because that's kind of like gone full circle and already come back out the other end of like good to bad to good.
Yeah.
Actually, have you did you see anything about the hot new controversy
What new? Which one?
about Nier Reincarnation specifically?
No. Oh, about the fucking how US they have
Yes, there's
I know
a private server to allow people to play Nier Reincarnation now that it is stopped. And there were some Japanese people, I won't say all, there were some who were violently against this. Like, Grok is not he's also a machine translate. Grok's not 100% accurate either, but I think Grok is usually capturing the vibe, and it sure felt like Grok felt inclined to translate some of those tweets as very strongly worded. But yeah, so there was, for people who don't know, if you have missed this, Nier Reincarnation was the Nier phone gacha game. It's EOS, it's offline now. Square has not done anything to make it offline playable and accessible. It's kaput, because Square is the king of like making a mobile game, letting it run for like a year or two, and then canning it. Their phone game strategy is not very strong, I want to say, these days. They have a couple of outliers that are okay, but definitely many games which have been thrown out free to play and died. But so, Nearing Reincarnation is not playable, and somebody announced a service which is allows you to play it. A not insignificant, again, even at the start of this, before I started seeing other opinions, I never wanted to, like, paint with a broad brush and say it's a majority of opinions. You never really fucking know on Twitter. Like the Twitter algo loves to show you controversial shit because you'll click it and you'll tap it and you'll reply to it and all that other shit. You know, you'll make the blue checkmark engine turn. But some number of Japanese posters, like I said, were very upset by this. They compared it to piracy, which to them was little more than theft. Outright using the analogy that it's just like going into the convenience store and like sticking your hand behind the counter.
I find that hilarious because I actually saw some fucking reports on how Japan actually has the highest number of pirated anime.
So that's the thing, right? Where like it started with like very, very intense pushback against the West. And of course the West pushes back because like really it's like a threefold issue that it seemed like a lot of people are kind of conflating. One, there's, piracy is theft straight up. The West pirates a lot of Japanese shit, etc., And then obviously there's the argument of like, well, if you're not selling it over here, we want access to it. And then it seems like a decent number of Japanese people are just like, well, if the company's not selling it to you, fuck you. And it's just like, that is definitely the more Japan and some other East Asian countries kind of like, social order shit. In America, you tell me, well, it's, I won't sell it to you. It's like, that's just like, we put on our cowboy hat and, pull back our dust and reveal our 6-shooter and just be like, well, that's not very yeehaw of you. Like, that just seems to tweak the Western capitalist, spirit. No, banditry is not the secret third way. It's the very openly third way of America. I would like to remind everybody, the American colonists were exports of all the religious whack jobs and criminals they didn't want in England, and everybody else was looking to make a quick buck. That's what we are, baby, an army of rogues, thieves, and whores. But who cares? We came up with some good ideas. Like, I think right now is a very very dangerous time in when it comes to American exceptionalism. We want to be very careful about that because some people are using American exceptionalism to do some very dumb, bad things. But also, there is something to, like, American exceptionalism. Like, it seems like a decent number of Japanese people don't seem to understand the spirit of, I guess I would say, give me liberty or give me death. America's very good about that. If it's not free, fucking shoot me, Like, I want the ability to choose, damn it, and if you won't, I'll fight over it. I also think that a decent number of people in Japan, like, I do think that Japanese companies, both through just, like, their own social pressures and the way their laws are different, they don't feel quite the same and present quite the same that American companies do, American corporations have eroded a lot of public trust, and corporations in Japan have not eroded a lot of public trust. So, like, again, the kind of thing of, like, some people would say that, like, oh, if you steal, you pirate these games or whatever, you're affecting the company's bottom line. They're the rights holder. They're the creator who has it protected. And of course, obviously in America, you're like, oh, no. You say that this hurts the corporation? I've got people who will line up to do this just because it hurts the corporation, right? Like, we have such a standoffish relationship with corporations, which is unfortunately been, I think, earned over some bad blood over the years, Like, I don't think that corporations are as actively malicious as some people think they are, but even through their indifference, some bad blood's been earned. So, like, that's another thing. Like, it seemed like a decent number of people in Japan that when they say that, the company controls the rights, they're the holder, so they are the creators. Whereas in a lot of Western places, not just in America, but we've heard from, Europe, Russia, other parts of Southeast Asia, the rest of the wider world, we tend to see the creators as the creatives, right? Like the writers, the directors, the people who are working at it. Just because, Square Enix, controls the rights to near reincarnation doesn't mean that we value their opinion on near reincarnation. We would ask, like, well, what does Yoko Taro think? I don't know what Yoko Taro thinks. I don't think he's weighed in on it, which is probably smart.
Yoko Taro usually goes with the option that makes him more money.
Yes, I think Yoko Taro would not necessarily be pleased as punch to know that there are private servers that can run near reincarnation. Bugly, apparently, by the way. Like, it's not a perfect emulation, it's using reverse engineering. But, like, I think he would probably be either indifferent or out there, but like I saw some people who were like, oh, well, you should have supported it when it was out, and like people are like, I genuinely could not have supported Near Reincarnation when it was out. Like some people pointed this out. The anti-gacha laws are so strict in Belgium, you straight up can't download a lot of gacha games there.
Oh wow, really?
Like they're just not allowed. Yeah, like I saw people who were like, yeah, I'm from Belgium, I could not play Near Reincarnation. It like was not on our store because it would have to obey with our local laws.
Well, like I said, I played Near Reincarnation. I liked it, and I wanted to continue it, but it's just one of those things of like, it was one of those gacha games that I fell off because I'm doing like so much in my life. I would like to just get in there and read the story, and maybe not like deal with all the mechanics and stuff, just because I want a Nier story.
Yeah, and like it was a free to play game, so it's like that's always another thing of just like, okay, so we're quote unquote pirating a free to play game, which is weird. Like I said, also it's a private server, like mirroring. It's not necessarily a quote unquote pirated copy. Like I think it's to allow you to use APK you already may have had as well, kind of a thing. Mm-hmm. But like I said, there's a lot of interesting things. But the third wave is like after like a lot of discussion about like genuinely kind of like this kind of point of comparison, where I did see a decent number of tweets which were just like, oh, our overseas bros see it this way, kind of a thing, right? Like. There was some genuine understanding built, the especially American, I want to say Western spirit, but I think this is also mirrored in certain other areas. Many people talk about the Slavic spirit, of not being able to access things. The Brazilians had a few words to say about regional pricing, so everybody kind of has their own reasons for doing some of this stuff, but like everybody weighed in, so there was some genuine coming together. There was a lot of vitriol, but then also, like you pointed out, it kind of wrapped around the other end, which is a lot of people. I think for some try-hard Japanese posters, which some people say may be young, they may be the Japanese equivalent of Gen Zers who are a little too self-righteous. Happens a lot with young people, but they encountered for the first time the Western style secret technique. Show receipts, which is pointing out that, until modern streaming services in Japan, if you were rural in Japan, pirated the shit out of anime and games. Anime especially. Lots of piracy on streaming sites like Nico Nico. Some people went so far as to bust out the receipts where like, oh, you're against reverse engineering? Well, how do you feel about the Japanese bubble economy built on reverse engineering Western technology? And I'm like, wow, some people are going to the way back. This is like generational grudge shit. But yeah, no, like I said, it seems like the whole Japan, the reverse Tower of Babel went through the complete loop where like, obviously all the barbecue and the cowboy stuff was really big. Then some other stuff percolated with like Near Reincarnation. But like I said, it seems like nowadays the conversation has gone out the other side where like there are still some like strong holdouts, but there also is like genuine communication, like you said, like, and I don't know how good Grok is at translating, but it feels like we are knocking down barriers in a weird way. Yeah,
and
like I said, I think it captures the vibe.
It captures the vibe, and like I said, that's all LMM, that's all machine translation, and which is, great, it's fun. Like, would I like to, be able to speak and read Japanese? Yeah, it's very fucking hard, though. So, no, like, using, like, LLMs and AI translations, like, it's perfectly fine, but you gotta put an editor in it. Like, God, that's all I ask.
If you want to pass it off as, like, a completed work or a product, like, yeah, you gotta.
No.
You gotta put the extra effort in.
And like I said, I do think some people are, like, coming around to, like, such things. Like, breaking today, Square Enix actually, showed off that they're developing an AI to do typesetting for manga. Just the typesetting. So it would select font, size, and placement of words. It doesn't do translating, and it doesn't write the dialogue. It just does the typesetting, which is generally considered,
sounds like a good... God, because like I'm thinking, I'm like, who... I know obviously like typesetting probably is like an entry-level job you do in that kind of biz, but you could also entry-level into like the actual translating and editing part. And who the fuck wants to do typesetting?
Nobody. No one likes doing typesetting,
it's make work.
Yeah. So like, and from what I've been seeing is most people go like, no, that's a great use of AI. It's all like yeah, will probably eliminate some jobs, but it is, basically basic bitch tier stuff.
It's the like effectively digital, the digital equivalent of factory automation, right? Which obviously we have our own complaints about, but like it's something that just like if you just need somebody to like figure out a typeset, and obviously it's got to learn some stuff, it's got to figure out what's right, and you probably need a human to oversee it. Because again, that's I think another major problem of like the AI tech bubble we've run into is companies pushing it so hard and like breaking what were previously thought of as like common sense rules. Like there are fucking manuals in like, for corporations and like the army and like government stuff from like the 80s, which are like, I think it's like an old business manual says like a machine can never, make a decision. Therefore a machine is never considered in management, right? Or like a machine can never make a management decision. So a machine's never considered in charge. Like, that's an important layer to this that I think people need to keep in mind. The machine should not be considered in charge. You should not talk to ChatGPT and like let him make decisions for you. ChatGPT cannot make decisions. ChatGPT just says whatever the fuck like they want. Like ChatGPT will say stuff just to keep you talking to it because it's the machine that says all your ideas are correct. Which is why some people get AI psychosis. Which like isn't a DSM title, but I think is a good way to. It's like cyber psychosis, but sadder. Instead of freaking out because you've shed your human limitations and realized that the flesh is weak, it's just that you had a machine that does a pretty good job of sounding like a human, and it just said that all your ideas are correct, including your fucked up ones. And people. Listen, it's really cool when you have yes men, but like I don't think humans psychologically need that one. I don't actually think you need somebody to stand over your shoulder and be like, yeah, correct. Your ideas are great. There are no flaws in your decisions. Like, humans need positive reinforcement. You need it in specific ways. Like, somebody telling you, like, hey, you're doing fine. It's okay. Everything will be all right. You're valid. You matter. Like, that's good positive reinforcement. But a machine being like, all your crazy ideas are correct. Yes. Sorry, I just thought of a different one. I'm thinking about the news story about the fucking FEMA guy who kept talking about how he got teleported to Waffle House. Even Trump thinks that guy's crazy. He's like, never heard of him. Teleported to a Waffle House. It's crazy. Oh, yes, no. The Crafton CEO went to ChatGPT to get out of paying the Subnautica guys their bonus.
It's so fucking weird. It's so fucking weird.
It was a bad idea. The judge saw that shit and was like, hey, guess what? First of all, ChatGPT, not privileged, by the way. I'm not a lawyer for any, like, legally things being, but I can tell you that ChatGPT is not privileged. That is not protected speech. Also, it's definitely not protected speech because if there are logs, I do know that OpenAI and Sam Altman, ghoul that he is, will roll over the moment a warrant gets involved. But that's also a different privacy conversation. Your private things aren't private if Apple or Google or OpenAI has the back end because they'll fucking keel over. But yeah, no, the judgment I believe has shown at least that they will have to pay the bonuses, and I believe that on their Steam page, Crafton's no longer listed as a publisher for Subnautica 2.
Oh, I bet not. They tried to fuck after that shit.
Yeah, so it seems like the contractual relationship is severed, and hopefully Subnautica 2 comes out and is cool.
I hope so too. But yes, no, AI only does exactly what you tell it to do. Therefore, everything is on the fucking thing. It's like when I always get on people. It's like, I don't necessarily like think AI art is like, I think it's weird, and I personally can't get it as someone who wants to, make it myself. But I refuse to entertain the thought that anyone calls himself an AI artist. It's like, no, you used AI, you basically commissioned an AI to make that for you. You wrote up a physical description, put it into a machine, and got something spit out. You just commissioned it. That's all you did. That's what people have been doing for like the past 30 years, commissioning fucking furry art on Fur Affinity.
But also, you like, at least depending on the model you used, if you didn't spend any money, which also, if you're spending money, just hire an actual artist. But if you didn't spend any money, your art commission is from like the most usually generic thing ever.
No, so it's like, I personally am okay with using like AI art in like little like non-sequential things like generating character portraits for RPGs. That's all. Like, is anyone else really going to see these? No. Does it help us, figure out, visual things? Yes. Is any of us gonna blame that we're all of a sudden an artist and we can just things out? No.
I don't know. Yeah, like I wouldn't want to do anything monetary with some of the stuff we do. The most I've done with because I have occasionally asked like a character generator AI to run like some rain portraits. I occasionally share them if people need a visual refresher, but I usually like to just say the text. The main thing is just like consistency and like yes, no. If I describe parent and child or sibling similarly, a machine can usually draw the conclusion that those things are related and kind of keep those parts thematically consistent. Other bits thematically consistent? Oh, fuck no.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's, if I was to publish the great big book of Rain, of Noblesse Oblige, I wouldn't put AI art in it, because it wouldn't be, it would not be consistent. Like, free models, free to use models, still very bad at drawing swords. It's probably because there's a lot of different swords.
Do you remember some of the cursed shit that Dallas has posted of when he's trying to generate characters?
Yeah, no, Dallas likes weird shit, so I think he tries to get the weird out of the AI, and the AI makes shit weird. You still occasionally get too many fingers. One thing that I've also still see that AI is still bad at is pupils and eye lines. Like, because, the human eyeball is a sphere and it can point anywhere, the machine can't really figure out how to do eyeballs quite right. Usually you don't notice if you don't look too hard, but it's definitely something I've seen. Like, the other thing is just, like, again, light levels and, like, the sheen, I think some people are a little too keen on, like, thinking that, like, everything that's, like, remotely shiny is AI-driven. But if you see a lot of AI-drawn character arts, a lot of it is very, like, shiny, and, like, the lighting is a little off, and that's because, again, the machine cannot make an executive decision about how lighting should look. It just has a brain trained on, 1,000 gajillion pictures, and it's just like, they kind of draw light like this, I guess. Like if you're doing a high-level commercial product and you're using AI, I'm against that because, like, it's lazy. Depending on what your level of budget is, you probably have the money to find somebody to do this, If you're on an interpersonal level or like, especially like the early AI stuff, like the DALL-E models that were all like weird and ethereal, like AI as a toy, that's funny. That can be amusing. I do not like when corporations are using it as an excuse to, like, slash jobs, and I don't trust AI generation to, like, produce higher quality product of, like, really complex stuff. Like, even still images is a little weird, and, like, I cannot imagine making AI algorithms to bang out, like, music, for instance, or, a lot of AI bros are gonna be like, you guys are gonna be cooked when AI movies come out, and it's like, I don't know about that. Modern LLM models don't really have memory. Like, they don't remember the previous prompt, so, like, they can't remember shit like scene composition and continuity and shit. Anyway, but like, AI translation is like, you got to be careful. If you see something that's like a little weird, you may want to double check it. And I have noticed that sometimes when it comes to, like, phonetic reads, it'll fuck stuff up. It's very funny that for some reason, I think it's just because of the way the algorithm did shift. I see a lot of specifically Japanese Warhammer tweets these days. And sometimes Grok does not get the retranslation, from fake Warhammer speak to Japanese back to English. So you get some funny ones, but it's out there. Sorry, we got a little extra in the weeds on that one. Breaking news and all. Sorry, I'm a little sweaty. Where are we at right now? Gosh, we're almost like 4 hours.
Okay.
I mean, I guess we mentioned Rain. We could talk about Rain and stuff.
Well, things are moving along swiftly along. Like I said, we have finally returned to the Fogvale. We got the Shadow Pass scene done.
That was fun.
It was interesting, but unfortunately, I do not feel like I walked out of there with any more than I came in with. So, while it was a very cool scene and there was a lot of lore, there's not anything for me, really, nothing really happened that there's no actionable intel, I should say. So, it's one of those things of just like, unless I miss something obvious, I got nothing. So, I gotta go and just wait.
I don't know if I meant that to be like a big actionable jump. Like, there's probably still... The main thing always is, obviously, like, when you do like I guess we'll call it interrogation. Like, some of it would have to be like figuring out questions you want to ask. I do kind of feel like there were a couple of points where, not really to, like, again, no, as I like to say, no value judgment. There were some points where you were kind of like, I'm not really not sure what to ask next. And it's like, I am also not sure what you want to ask next, but you are planning to kind of like use that as a resource for later. So when you come up with specific questions, you can always go back to that well, I guess.
Yeah. Well, no, you say, I guess, because again, this is one of those things. Like I don't necessarily know what I would go back and ask around, like, the new, sorry, I'm trying to get it out. Illustrious new big sister, things, because like I said, they only know things they knew in life. So, and it's cool to chat to somebody who's really old, but that was kind of the funny moment of like, oh, they're pretty old. So, but again, it's like one of those things again, like I'm feeling I'm trying to make progress in things. I'm not making progress in games. I have to, once again, sit on my ass and wait for Omega to give the thread for me to do the thing. So once again, I do not feel like I am actually progressing in any of the goals that I want to. I am just hitting fucking check marks in a fucking scenic tour. So it's a little frustrating. Thankfully, we don't have to worry about that particular bit until we get to the Alchemical College, and I try to see if there is a dragon there. In the meantime, we have other things to do with the Ivy Raiders and the Crag visit, which I do believe will probably be something that I can actually be more directly involved in. Or not be involved in, but be okay with not being involved in.
Well, it'll depend on how you feel.
It depends on how I feel. But yeah, no, like I came out of that, like I thought I was gonna be like super excited for Dragon stuff coming out of that. I was not. I was just like, nope, I know some cool stuff, but I don't have anything really else to work on. So yeah, I guess.
You when we ended the scene, we sounded kind of like jazzed, like, yeah, I'm gonna get into Dragon stuff now. And then one day later, it was like, oh shit, I can't get into Dragon stuff. I got so many other stuff I still want to buy.
Well, yeah, it was because it's one of the things. Like I realized I did not make I didn't make any big breakthroughs, in like Dragon. Like I don't know. Like I guess the problem is I don't know. Like the problem is I had no idea what to expect. Like my expectations were literally I don't fucking know. And like I said, the lore was cool, the character was cool. Finding out that Corpse Eater Mythodeer is real and exists. I'm like, oh, that's just slightly terrifying to think about. Don't stare into
concepts.
Don't stare into the abyss. Corpse Eater Mythodeer might be staring back, and he angry. That's cool, but like in a game where I am trying to figure out answers to stuff, like it's always a bummer when I don't find the answer. Like, yes, I understand that you can't just roll dice and go flip over and rock and find the answer right there, but it's one of those things that I thought that this would be a bigger moment, and it wasn't. Like, like I said, I understand. Partly this is me. Like, I literally just, cast spells. I cast a spell on the first true dragon I found.
Yeah.
So it's like, it was
and like I said, that was like a minor cool detail that I had to like be like, oh shit, you're interested in this? I gotta figure out, I guess, what they're doing here.
Yeah. So, that's one of those things, but like I don't want to like necessarily say that I'm mad at Omega for this. I'm more mad at myself because I'm like, yeah, what did I expect from this?
Yeah, because hearing you be disappointed makes me go a little. So I'm glad that you're not like, you're like, oh, no. That Omega, he fucked it up. But it's like, I'm like, oh, I wanted that to be kind of hype. But at the same time, practically, it's also like thinking back, I'm like, well, no, I did just kind of like, I said that as a one-off, and then you were like, oh, that's cool. What if I did blah blah blah? And I went, don't do that. I would have to think about what that means first. And then I thought about what that means, and like, I've given you a general skeleton, where like you can do this again, not just to Bora Barvcha, our new favorite big sister, but also any other dragon skulls you come across, that if that ever comes up, that's a thing we can do. And like some of it's just, like I in turn don't want to be like you said, like how you don't want to like blame me for it. It's like I don't want to like turn it around and like blame you and be like, well, but what questions are you trying to get answered? Because it's like, well, part of the problem is you don't know what questions you it's the unknown unknowns problem, right? Like, yeah, you don't know what questions you want answered all the time. You ask some specific questions and some general questions, like some of the answers were more vague than others. I think it was interesting. I didn't originally think too deep about it, but it was, since you guys had your because I think I wrote my outline before you guys had the big meeting, double checking everybody's theories and stuff. But no, you did ask her about the Path of the Crownless, and that one was kind of like, oh, interesting. And like it is unfortunate that it is kind of a non-answer, but it was a non-answer to be like, oh, she doesn't really know anything about that. You know, the idea of the king who is to come is kind of like, to a dragon of her age anyway, like a fable or a fairy story. Like it's is it literally the end of the world? Is it a metaphor for the end of the world? She didn't know. So like that does, at least, it's not a very helpful window, but that does give you a window that like the snake cult probably formed sometime in between, you know, the Covenant and now, as it is, like their belief system. But, you know, asking it is like you said, like, you know, you just kind of picked a random dragon skull to ask, and it's like, well, unfortunately, she wasn't around for that part, so she doesn't know.
Yeah, no. And that's the thing, like, I'm talking about why I'm upset, because I basically overhyped myself with this for this scene.
Yeah, you gassed yourself up a little too much.
I gassed myself up a little too much, because in hindsight, it's like, yes, I just found a random-ass skull that's been buried under a mountain. I was like, dragon, that can give me some answers, and did not necessarily think properly of what those answers may be. So, yeah, so, like, when I say I'm frustrated, like, yes, like, a little bit of it to you, Omega, because you did not give me the thing that I wanted, but also, realistically, I have to realize, like, no, that wasn't necessarily the thing to give me the thing I wanted. Why would this random-ass dragon skull under the mountain have all the answers to what I need? It's just frustrating.
Honestly, the dragon is kind of like, not quite a Chekhov's gun, but it's like, the dragon at least had decent significance because it is related to the past of House Logi.
Yeah, no,
which is kind of like a coincidence, but also it's cool, and I'm just like, well, I mean, you know, the dragon's here, so it should be somewhat important. Like kind
cool.
of the reverse of like you being like, well, it's just a random dragon. Why would it have the answers I need? As the game master, I kind of have to be the reverse of just like, well, shit, I put a fucking dragon skeleton here. Why did you do that, dumbass? It has to do something.
Yeah, but no, like I said, I like. No, so I liked the scene. In the moment, I thought it was really rad. It's just one of those moments when I'm sitting down organizing my thoughts and I go, wait a minute, I learned nothing about, well, I shouldn't say that. It's not that I learned many things, but I learned nothing that forwards the agendas that I have in place. So. And
I guess, like, I would be, again, you know, no value judgment. I guess the question, or the response there would be like, if you want to speak to Borobarvcho or any other dragon skeleton again, I guess it'd be like, what are you thinking that, if you know, what are the questions you think that would give you the, like, you know, what answers would advance your agendas, and thus what questions do we want to be asking? Because obviously, like, sometimes I like to know things ahead of time so I can think about them. Sometimes I have answers in my pocket, and sometimes I do not. Like, you know, I think we've had some very interesting conversations, like Aaron's been talking about, you know, thinking Conrad thoughts and being like, you know, Conrad is thinking about, like, how do the you know, heroes and legendary figures of yore, how do they do all that shit? Mm-hmm. And I'll say him asking that question definitely made me think about, like, okay, so I've got ideas for how I can frame some of that stuff. Like, I think honestly, like, my main personal question for that is, because this is related also to, like, uncapping, you know, esoterics and martials. I'm like, do I want to do that incrementally, or is it like an all at once thing? Like, you know, is there just like an unlimited potential, you know, awaken your hidden potential, you know, shit. What is it? What's the opposite of a problem?
Solution?
No. The mechanic of the problem.
Advantage.
Advantage, yes, thank you. Yeah, is it just like a one and done advantage that is just like, you've awakened your hidden potential, I don't care how many esoterics you buy anymore? Or is it like, you know, investing points kind of a thing? And I'm not sure yet. I'm not sure what what I think would be better balanced on the game design end, because even with the 15, the no more than 30 total, you guys are already a little crazy sometimes. But also it's like, I don't know what would also you feel good to you. Like, are you guys going to be bothered to constantly be buying little ranks in this advantage to get more esoterics? I don't know. I have to think about it. But yeah, like with you know, advancing agendas, a lot of that is down to like asking the right questions. I will say at least that's not a unique issue to you. Like, you are not alone in this. I think at several other times other players have sometimes struggled, and other times just been generally curious about, like, I'm not sure how to advance my agenda, you know? Mm-hmm. I know, like, obviously we just talked about, like, Aaron with Conrad doing some interesting things. That was another one that was kind of like, you know, Aaron seemed happy with it, but I think for the other players, it was definitely kind of like a little weird to interact with sometimes about, like, because, you know, thinking about, like, oh, is it like this or that? And it's like, no, it's not. You know, it's not a disease to be cured per se. It's a problem he's picked up, an affliction that may have solutions later, but we'll see where it goes. I mean, it will have solutions later, I think, actually. Like, Aaron has explicitly designed this plot hook to be a thing that will go away eventually, but you know what I mean, gang. But, like, recently I know... Well, not recently, but kind of recently, like, the thing with Loth as Logesh, as, like, dealing with the Smith boys, right? Like, that was an agenda he wasn't sure exactly how to do it and didn't want to, like, lock down for a long-term project and did kind of just sit idle, and I did do the thing where the chickens came home to roost, sooner rather than later. Sorry, I'm pondering, gang. I'm pondering my pondering.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, I definitely think with Borovarvcha, it was like, I figured out, who she was, what her backstory was, some general vibes, and then kind of gave myself enough of a feel that I could wing it, I guess, on other stuff. I think the only, like, really concrete thing I had that I was, like... Not that I wouldn't say I had to remind you, but I was, like, one thing I was definitely, like, when there was a moment when you were not sure what questions to ask, I was like, well, previously you said you would ask the dragon how they died, and so I did come up with an answer for that.
Mm-hmm. It was a good answer, too.
Yeah.
But like I said, it's just one of those things where I feel like I have to, like, sit down and think of, like, all right, how do I get actionable intel? Where do I get it from? Is there something that I actually have to do, or do I actually need to just sit and be patient and wait for, the plot to come to me? I don't know.
And obviously feel free to, pitch me some of that stuff out of character, being like, ask me or the group, like, is this specific thing something I can work on? Like I said, God knows I've thought about many of Nicholas zany schemes, right?
Yeah.
Which have not necessarily panned out. But he asked about him, so I thought about him at least. Yeah, it really does depend on, I guess, on what direction you think of as, like, is the direction Enos wants to advance in. Because, like, there is some broader stuff about, about ancient foes and disruptions going on in Norland as a whole. You learned this whole thing, like you said, not just about Corpse Eater Myth Eater being real, but also, like, his, brood of dragons may have some generational beef. Mm-hmm. The black-scaled dragons, the kin of black scale, like, are they around somewhere? Where did they hang out? Will that actually be relevant to what you're working on, or is that just another thing you got to worry about? Another minefield. Fibs for thibs. That's my funny way of saying food for thought. But yes, next session. That session is already posted. You guys went in onto you had Beneath Pitchstone Plains, and then went back to the Fogvale. Yeah,
the combat was actually pretty quick. Like, all things considered.
I don't feel too bad about that because I got a little of the fear of God. I got to bonk Leslock in the head, which was a little concerning. And also I know he always wears a hat. But I was a little surprised. I was like, oh yeah, wow, no, I really thought double actions and, like, big pools would be enough. But, like, no, some of you guys get some big swings. Like, honestly, thinking back, like, the smart thing was definitely... I know as when I don't necessarily shut you out directly, you were like, oh, I didn't contribute, but, like, the enemy showed you respect earlier in that fight in my mind when she decided to parry your second attack because your first attack was pretty scary. In hindsight, that was not the right move. She should have just let that one ride and worked on a different block.
Mm-hmm.
But I was not thinking how much damage Logesh was going to do. But no, you guys, as a group, I think worked through that pretty good. But also we're that combat went pretty smoothly because we were also willing to do non-combat things in combat.
Yes.
Like, you actually got a couple people in the... And I'll say you, because you pitched it as just like, remember, you don't have to just be shooting, Mm-hmm. And some people did bite and go, you're right, I don't have to. I'll knowledge this. I'll set up a plan for some kind of, talking. Now, had the enemy not been full of damage and gotten to Conrad's sets of Inspire, do I know exactly how I would have played that out? No, I didn't have to figure that out. Time only flows one direction.
Mm-hmm.
But it definitely would have done something. Yeah, to this day, I'm still not exactly sure how I would have adjudicated that. Like, would it have been that she just, like, did not single out, Comrade and maybe Leslock? Yeah, because Leslock was holding his action, so he would not have necessarily shot. So, like, that could have been something. Probably still would have been willing to challenge Enos and Logesh because you hit her? I don't know. Like I said, I will never know now. But next session is going to be more Fogvale meaty stuff. Did get a couple of the pre-meeting things out of the way. You did find the big sack of gold.
Yeah, no, that was exciting.
You decided to be responsible with it, but it was still there.
Yeah. I wanted to steal it away and put it for more spells, but nay, there was a good alternate in there. I was like, shit, that does make sense.
I've tried to be a little... What's the phrase? A little better about, like... Obviously, some things are still going to be open-ended choices, but, like, definitely I think the group is a little snappier if I'm just like, here, bulleted list, pick 1, 2, or 3.
No. Like I said, that is a human thing. Humans react better when... It's better when they aren't giving a singular choice, but multiple choices. Humans are actually very bad at being at open-ended ideas. God, I'm bad at open-ended ideas.
Gets our little brains racing. I mean, I think the other reason why you may appear better at open-ended question is just because you spent a lot of time before the game thinking about it, as we like to discuss.
Yeah.
So like that will be, I think, like we're gonna carry that forward when you guys discuss strategy with the Corsairs. Like, I do not have everything like locked in stone. I mention that because we are also planning even on switching up to Fantasy Flight Games Deathwatch for a little bit, because we did have a lot of fun with Space Marine 2, and the power of tabletop role-playing. No longer will you be constrained by what video game designers say a Chaos Beast should do with its fist to your face.
Well, but yeah, no, I think we talked about enough about Rain. Look out for the next episode. We will record. I don't think we have anything coming up. So, like I said, I will probably be doing a lot of I'll be doing a lot of thinking. Like I said, I don't want to blame Mega for it. I blame more of myself, and I need to again. I've been having a lot of come to Jesus moments over the past few sessions with pushing personal narratives that I need to consider. So I'll be doing that. But something I feel
like sometimes we're in the junction of with Rain anyway, we're in the junction of y'all got good writing? Nah, we got hype moments in Aura. It's are we doing stuff just because it's cool, or is it actually extending the narrative? And sometimes we do just do stuff for cool. I'll put me under the bus there too. Sometimes I just throw out details. That's how that dragon skull started. I was just I wanna show the lineage of fighting dragons in time. There's some really old dragon bones, including some big ones. And then you were like, this may mean something. And I'm like, well, I gotta figure out if it means something. And I kind of and I did at least want it to have some kind of impact, because I did kind of feel after all that, my own being hold on, I gotta think about it. If it was just an absolute nothing burger, that would have been even more disappointing, right? If it was just Joe the Dragon.
No, it wasn't just, well, that's a good thing. It wasn't just Joe the Dragon, and that's all if we ever have to figure out some shit about, Corpse Eater Mythodeer, you probably go back to, Big Sister Barbie and ask, maybe what some of that conflict. But in the exact moment, I don't think it was necessarily important. So, I mean, she at least, like I said, she confirmed a couple of things for sure. You were pretty sure, but she straight up said, yeah, no, this, Alestra, she smells like she's related to the royal family. And then also was and it's weird that this guy doesn't, pointing at Nicola. Dallas is weird. Dallas is just weird. Dallas has to be the weird one. He always wants to be the weird one.
I also think it's just as Nicola, he's just emphasized way different stuff, going all in on alchemy early, going all in on he attuned over several people attuned over the time skip, but he attuned over the time skip straight away, even though he's gonna be stuck looking 19 forever or 20 forever, whichever his age actually was. And then all in on the weird face stuff. So yeah, you're right, he's weird.
But whatever, he can be weird. So I will definitely this is one of the reasons why I was kind of hoping we could maybe switch to Deathwatch, because like I said, I want to take some time to actually compartmentalize Enos and compartmentalize Enos's motivations and goals and the agendas in and out of character and stuff. And if I'm constantly thinking about what we're doing next in the game, I really don't have time to do that. And also, I don't know how much you write and how much you write, but I do know you have injured yourself sometimes writing so much.
I have occasionally repetitive stress injured my hands with my requirement to meet deadlines for Rain. Yes, quote unquote deadlines.
So playing Deathwatch, I think, is something that we can dial back the intense roleplay, and not get rid of it, because there'll still be a rid of it, but we can focus on a much more tactical focus game where it's more important to roll dice than to roleplay than to roleplay.
Yeah.
So it's coming up with missions would probably be easier for you, and it's something that we don't necessarily have to stress about things, and could be a nice palate cleanser for whenever we get back to Rain. And like I said, we are high on the Space Marine 2, and most people in the Secret Table Co-op are familiar with 40K. I think Lucky is still probably the one who knows the least about 40K in our group. So that is going along. Also, Axe, you saying all that stuff, I haven't seen any of that in the character you've been generating. All I have seen is you are Tech Marine Go Burr. I know everything, so I can be involved in every discussion. Go Burr. That's
I will say this:
like,
I don't want to turn this into a deep dive, but seeing where like Axe is going with this character, I'm kind of cottoning on to like Axe as a player. It really likes having access to deeper world knowledge to touch on, to like know ahead of time versus necessarily explore. Not to say that Axe doesn't explore. Like he's talked before about how he's very fond of his Gensukai character. But like that was a early point of a pressure point between me and him on Delta Green, where like he asked me all kinds of like absolute questions about Delta Green, and I'm like, I'm not running Delta Green that way. And also, I would appreciate it if you didn't read the GM's guide to learn objective facts about things, because this is a game of, conspiracy and hidden information. As a character, you don't know that shit, and I think it's more authentic if as a player you don't know some of this shit. And then also, Delta Green is explicitly written to be like, hey, you can change shit up. So I think that like with like his Navigator character and now like the Deathwatch character, Axe is like really eager to latch on and utilize like deep fill-in background lore, because it means that he doesn't necessarily have to worry about some of like coming up with some of that stuff himself. Whereas with Rain, there is deep background lore, but I'm also writing it by the seat of my pants as previously established. So like there's stuff for you to latch in on, but also it's like it's there for you to explore, but it's not like I can hand you the 60 volumes of Rain novels. I mean, I will say this, like honestly, if you had actually read the GM's guide, that probably would have helped a little with some of it, because one of the contextual things, like I said, is like them discussing kind of like using different names and terms and kind of how to approach lore, because I think Call of Cthulhu and Delta Green as a role-playing game system has a problem where players are like, oh, a Bayaki, oh, a Shoggoth. Like, they know these beats, so they just kind of like get used to them. Whereas part of it is like, you gotta bring the spooky to the horror. That at least I can count on for the RPG of Deathwatch, because sometimes I have to design my own shit. Mm-hmm. Spoilers, the Deathwatch RPG, Genestealer cults specifically were not in their current place where they are in terms of both lore and terms of like, just faction differentiation. They were not a standalone army you could play when the tabletop RPG came out. That was in much more recent editions of the wargame.
Actually, I need to fill in the blank here. What are Genestealer cults? I hear you guys talking about them ever, but I've never actually asked what they are.
So, I've probably mentioned them in various talks before. So, there's a couple of ways I can tackle that question. I guess I'll do the metagame answer first, right? So, in the old school days of like early 40K, there were these guys called Genestealers, right?
Okay.
And they were just speaking about weird background lore, right? They were just a weird thing that happened sometimes because earlier editions of 40K were much more narrative and like roleplay focused, almost. Mm-hmm. So there were these things called Genestealers, which are like a alien race that infects you kind of like Xenomorph style, I've also heard people compare it to the sci-fi film Leviathan, but I've never seen it, so I don't know. It's old school 40K, it's probably a straight up sci-fi reference. But there are these, anyway, weird aliens, that like genetically infiltrate, populations and like slowly build up a cult and a revolution. This was just like a background detail that, like I said, kind of went out of favor after a while. And then when they introduced Tyranids as a standalone faction, the Zergling type, bioweapon guys, they did a little bit of canon welding. So Genestealers are a type of Tyranid who are kind of the vanguard of the Hive fleets. I mentioned them before. Pure strain Genestealers are like they're a common enemy on like Space Hulks and shit. Like, again, space horror Xenomorph style. They hide out and like ambush people, and jump out. They do this thing mentioned, like they'll infect people. Genestealers kiss. Don't worry, Space Marines are immune. You guys are already gene engineered, super turbo fucked, so you don't need to worry about that. But they, infect sentient races. Those races go. They fall under the influence of the Tyranid hive mind, the hive mind of the Brood Lord. the Patriarch, as it's called usually also. And they are genetically and psychically there to build the influence so that the Gene Stealers can form a cult and soften up the planet for the hive fleets to arrive, and even suggested that, like, if they get enough, like, followers, right, they breed enough Gene Stealers, they get enough of that Tyranid hive mind going, they might actually attract the hive fleets.
Oh, okay.
So they're Tyranids, but instead of, like, they're related to the Tyranids genetically and have a lot of similar tools, but instead of being the, like, ravenous bug horde type guys, they are the, sneaky infiltrator alien type horde guys. Yeah, like, they have a lot of interesting beliefs where, like, the psychic influence is they think of the Tyranids as, like, angels, and they have, like, again, because they've been added as, like, a war game faction that is now separate from Tyranids, they have their own, like, weird factional lore. They have, like, different infiltrations, like, there are versions that are, like, a corruption of, like, the Mechanicus cult. I'll give you guys a slight spoiler for Deathwatch, but because it's going to be in the high-level briefing, but there's, like, subsets of things like the cult of the four-armed emperor. So it's like, they act like a cult to Big E, but if you look at their iconography, it's like, hey, why does the emperor have 4 arms? Well, obviously, that's the holy form, the 4 arms. Never mind that that's a weird, Tyranid thing. And also, Axe has posted some models and some images. They get to be weird and fucked up, like, by their different, like, generations. But yeah, like, that'll be one of the factions you guys will be running into in Deathwatch. But like I said, I've had to invent some of those stat blocks because Gene Stealers did not exist in the same way in the war game when the RPG was coming out as they do now. So, like, they have some cool new lore we can rely on. But hopefully it'll keep you guys guessing.
Okay.
But, like, earlier comment, so this side thread started because Axe was like, being like, oh, I think I'm the weird one. It's like, yeah, actually, I think you are the weird one out, but some of that stuff you've discussed just with me in DMs and not necessarily with the group, but also, like, to somebody like Lucky who doesn't have this deep background knowledge, a lot of this is just, like, stuff of being like, oh, I relate to this. Oh, I know this. That was a side conversation talking about some of the threats you guys have encountered as Space Marines. Like, Axe ended up kind of, like, painting with a super broad brush. And I think some of it wasn't, like it's not, like, malicious. It's just, like, Axe is a person who knows lots of things and,
like, the way that I was
videos
thinking it is, from what I know, Axe has a lot of knowledge, and he wants to be able to use that knowledge.
Yes.
And things. It's, like, generally why Axe likes having a lot of, like, knowledge skills or being able to remember things. It's so that when we have a moment when we need a solution to a problem, Axe can go, like, I know a thing, and, feel useful to the group.
Yes. Axe is a player who likes to feel like he is contributing and being useful. He's talked about this where he's had bad experience with some games where, the quintessential role-playing game problem, oh, my whole turn was spent rolling 1 die, I failed, nothing happened, right?
Yeah.
Like, he's talked about that being some of his formative years in gaming, and, like, I understand that. I've played those games, too. So, like, Axe likes to feel like an active contributor. Different people are here for different things. I was talking for a Loft's usually just here to just, like, have some fun, get some yokes in.
No, honestly, I'm kind of curious to see, like, we've been sharpening sticks to poke Dallas because he's been busy throughout the week and hasn't gotten, like, a lot in. And I know Loft has been busy
as he had
well.
to discuss, apparently, if he boots up his mod tools at all, Steam thinks he's playing Borderlands 2. So I had to send him a virtual pipe bomb.
But we still don't know exactly what Loth and Dallas are going to be doing. Like, my character, Sniperius, by the way, I'm playing someone of the Raptor chapter called Sniperius. Yes, it's super on the gnome, but I'm going to be playing this completely straight. It's going to be glorious.
I feel like that's going to be the way this game is going to be, is, like, out of character. We know this is really goofy. In character, we're going to play this. I mean, I said one of the factions you guys are going to be running into is orcs. So, like, orcs are inherently tongue-in-cheek.
Yeah.
So, like, you guys are going to be dealing, with, like, commandos and speed boys and, shit like that. So there's a lot of, like, goofiness to it. But I always think it's funnier and more entertaining when you play it straight. Like, you engage with the thing that is kind of tongue-in-cheek genuinely.
Well, here's the funny thing, Axe. As Space Marines, we shouldn't be using slurs at all. I was actually looking at this in one of the, like, in the core of Death One, where it says role-playing as role playing as a Space Marines. We are like, what did it say? Sorry, because this is one of those things I want to probably talk about people like before we actually start. Is like when we role play Space Marines, we should actually try to be fucking Space Marines. Play it straight. But what was it?
What's the way? I don't know exactly how the book says it, but so obviously there are jokes, but like the general vibes for Space Marines, you guys are, psychologically conditioned, hypno-trained, and yes, the Storm Wardens are like, they have giant claymores, they're space Scottish. But like, and genetically conditioned and all that, like, Space Marines are warrior monks, some of you are different than others, like, that is actually the way your personal and your chapter demeanors kick in, but like, generally Space Marines are taught to behave in... there you've got it, yeah. Angelic warrior knights, yeah. So, like, you speak kind of elaborately, you're brave and motivated, not literally true, you understand fear, but, you have kind of this stuff, but you don't stuff. Oh, yeah, Chaos Space Marines are there to fuck with you. And not all Marines are gonna be like that, but you guys as Deathwatch, experienced veteran kill team Marines, Battle Brothers, are gonna be like, you guys are experienced, well-rounded, and are so far like no guarantees. Like Lucky, you were talking about like mission writing, right? Like I have a rough roadmap for how many missions I want to do to kind of like keep this from being super long, but like hit all the cool ideas and like engage in a what's the right phrase? An escalating scale, right? Like start you guys off with like something normal and then be like big ass, because the boys have been asking for big XP, and that means big missions. But we'll try and, like I said, like scale it up so that we can get a feel for it, and then we can get to like advanced shit. But like right now, I'm pretty sure that you 5 Battle Brothers are gonna be the only Space Marines in this campaign. Like the only non-heretic ones, we still coin flip whether Chaos will be the secret third thing. You gotta have a secret third thing. Come on. I'm calling the campaign the series of missions Trinity Sanction. The system is named Trivilacus, which is just, fake ass Latin for 3 lakes. 3 balls, like a whole thing. Like so like there's gonna be a secret third thing. But, like, you are the only 5 non-trader Marines in the campaign so far. So, you guys are gonna stand out. Like, and you will be interfacing with little guys, which is why earlier you were talking about, like Sniperius's opinions on, like Imperial Guards and stuff. I'm just going like, ooh, yes, this will be good for those delicious, short role-playing opportunities. Will you guys do something that is tactically expedient, and have the guard do something, with their human wave tactics, or will you be like, no, Guardsmen, you remain here. We, the honorable Battle Brothers, shall stride forth, even though this is probably a bad idea. And you guys can get extra renown doing that, by the way.
Oh, really? Okay, cool.
Yeah, I think that chart's in Rites of Battle. It's just before the honors. They have, like, a little extra chart about some extra things you can do for renown. That'll be separate from my own, like core renown.
Oh shit, I'm gonna go check that.
Yeah, you can still blow it up. That's where, like, Dallas hasn't locked in his character, but he's planning on playing a librarian. He is our other candidate for the weird one. I actually had to double check some stuff because Lost says he's planning on playing a Black Templar. They are a chapter of Space Marines who are notoriously very serious about, purging mutants, heretics, and aliens. But the description of Black Templars points out, like, no, if you're a Black Templar forwarded to the Death Watch, you have been selected to be, like, psychologically and spiritually prepared to run into a fellow battle brother who might use a psychic power. Like, they are picked for it. They don't necessarily get any talents that like, enforce it any other way. They just have a demeanor which is zealous, which means, they might engage in the role-playing of, like, even more than warrior, knight, angel, space marines will be like, that's my downtime. Gonna pray to my shrine of Big E. But yeah, no, these I like this 3 things to remember. This is a good one. Like you're focused on aliens, but you'll fight anything that's an enemy of the Imperium.
Mm-hmm.
Speak, boldly, straightforwardly. Well, and also being like, thinking about like reasonable stuff, Axe saying, oh, would I be the one saying it might be a bad idea? Maybe, but also you're a tech marine. Like I'll dangle like archaeo tech and tech secrets in front of the group, and then you might be the one who's like, I have to decide. Do I care about arcane lost technology, or do I care about crushing orc skulls?
Honestly, I feel Sniperius
Server
will probably be the one, saying one that's this is a bad idea. Like, Raptors are very pragmatic and and I do believe like Sniperius is like, no, we should not be expending bodies so easily. We must spend their lives purposefully and effectively. So any plans that will result in excessive losses is just no. We are better than this. So no, like again, I'm excited to try and roleplay a Space Marine. Like I said, this is like, it's gonna be interesting. Like I said, we've talked about it. We're probably gonna be on like an accelerated XP track, which I think is very important because there's a lot of fun stuff to do and things. But you got to get to like rank, get like up to your advances of like 6 and 8.
Yeah, the classic adage of like, oh, you played a session for like 4 hours, ooh, do like 500 XP is like, I don't know, man. Deathwatch stuff can be very expensive. So like I said, I've already told Lucky the simplest, most straightforward mission I've come up with so far. The minimum number will be 1,000 XP for a successful mission. I might reduce that a little bit if you guys like go out of your way to not do secondary and tertiary objectives, or like somehow you'll really bungle it up. But like the runtime to get bigger is like making sure to get some extra juice, and then obviously bigger missions will be more XP, more renown, more requisition. Got to give you guys plenty of requisition to play with stuff. Not just war gear, but also like the discovering that there's funny assets you can call in, like getting your inquisitorial strike cruiser to lance the target. That requires visual confirmation, by the way.
Bro, man, I got like, give me some fucking binoculars and I'll be our fucking orbital spotter. Don't you worry. Where is? Here it is.
That's your job. You're the spottyman.
Yeah, let's see here. From rank 1, like I said, we start at 13,000. We get 1,000, so we have 14. Yeah, we're starting at rank 2. To get to rank 3, we're gonna need 3,000 experience, about? Yeah. So normally
after a couple of missions, you'll go from 2 to 3. That's decent. That's about the pace I think I want to go for.
Yeah, no, so it's like, but like, yeah, normally that'd be like 6 sessions. You have to survive 6 sessions doing who knows what.
Yeah, I know. Like, and I've said before, I'm basically like I'm averaging and like maximalizing based on the amount of objectives and their difficulty involved.
Let's see here. 3 to 4 is 4. 4 to 5 is 5. Then it looks like 5 again, 5 again, 5 again.
Yeah, no. The Deathwatch is supposed to be pretty whatchamacallit, high power, so like they are sufficiently like ingratiated, but definitely need to get in there to get some big chunguses. And like I said, we'll try and do it, and we'll throw in extra shit. Yeah, because it's fun. And like I said, the writing is like the writing part is definitely a little faster. Taking apart occasional time for me to like check through several different wikis to be like, is this a thing? God knows the other day I wanted a fucking wiki walk because I'm like, 40K has to have tractors, right? Tractors have to be a thing. What's the right word for tractor? It's not Tractarius, but yes, I had to like as an aside mention to give some ballparks of stuff because you guys are going to be looking at an Aggie world, so I'm like, oh, I can do some stuff. But yeah, no, like I also really like that 40K is doing some funny tone stuff because like I'm able to do things like explore ancient abandoned ruins on one planet, dig through tunnels filled with cultist miners on another, but also I can do in a separate adventure challenge those cultist miners to wacky races. Mm-hmm. Because thanks to 40K being the way it is, there's so many fucking bikes in this setting. There's bikes, there's jet bikes. I don't know why, but they like bikes. And that's okay. It's cool. You're gonna pull up the Alaten Jackals. That's a Gene Stealer bike unit. They have flamethrowers on their bikes. But also orcs like bikes. Space Marines have bikes.
We have some big ass bikes. That's what I was gonna think. We're like fucking like what 8 foot tall in power armor.
Yeah, thank you. That's canon. Yeah, it's a Space Marine wheel bike with the sidecar. For people not in our patron chat, he's got the primary. The driver has 2 storm bolters, so that's fully automatic submachine gun bolters, and it looks like the guy in the sidecar has a multi-melta, an anti-tank heat gun, which is goofy as hell.
It is goofy.
Eldar have jet bikes. Yeah, 40K. That's like I said. 40K is goofy. Like, people talk about the grimdark and the overly seriousness, and like, yes, it can be a very grim and bland setting, and I think you can go for kind of like the Doom style, like, heavy metal album feel, but also the setting really is inherently goofy. And so, I hope to, like I said, to blend the goofiness with also like just some tactical stuff. And honestly, we haven't played a combat heavy game in a little bit. Just like,
yeah,
you guys are just gonna roll some dice and pop some heads, and just we'll see how it is.
No, and I think we need to just get in there and kill stuff.
It's literally a mechanic in Deathwatch. There's the way you complete certain objectives. They call it kill markers, and it's just like, all right, how many points is that guy with? That was a 10-point boy.
No, I'm excited. I want to get a masking screen, and I want to. Honestly, you were kind enough to give my sniper specialization the Stalker bolt rifle. That probably might be all I need. Maybe I'll get like a Bastard Craft one later. But I was like, no, this will probably do it. It's gonna be great.
Like I said, we talked about this, and yes, also Lucky got so into this that he designed his own specialization because he wanted to go sniping. And again, Deathwatch is an old enough RPG that the Primaris weren't a thing yet. So like, Games Workshop hadn't kind of like done force reorganization to Space Marines to give them disciplines that make sense, like snipers and other sneakmans, which you can see in Space Marine 2. But sorry, that orc commando. But like, I think it was fair to give you, even though the stalker pattern bolter rifle is like usually the first tier of renown, which I ended up giving you guys anyway because I looked at the stuff and I'm just like, fuck it, we ball.
Yeah,
I like it when you guys have. We kind of talked out of character, and you talked with the group about what you wanted out of it, and it sounded like kind of like the want to focus on the tactics of like, I give you the resources, I give you, the enemies and the objectives to complete, and you guys figure out how you want to do them. So giving you more options to pick up more stuff is like better than just being like, no, you're only initiate, you can only afford regular bolters. Distinguished tier should be 20. Everybody should be starting out there. And then we'll see how far you guys go up. Again, because, like, if you want to get the real crazy shit, you got to get to, like, hero tier. Well, you'll have to requisition it, but, you can see. If you want to keep it forever, you gotta get signature war gear. There's talents for that. But, you should be able to check out certain stuff at the distinguished level. But, like, giving you guys options to check out stuff and get in there and pick these things, because it's more fun that way, and it's easier to work around, giving you a couple options to pick from. Sorry, my brain kind of staticked over. I'm like, I feel like I had something else to say there, but I lost it.
I don't know. But like I said, probably next game, we will probably talk about when we want to slide in Deathwatch. If we get everything done by next session, maybe the week after, we'll start Deathwatch. Like I said, we'll have to probably put a fire to Dallas and Loth to make sure they got their characters ready. But it will be good. So those of you who enjoy 40K content, please look forward to it. It will be quite interesting.
We will engage the shooty bang bang.
The shooty bang bang.
Oh yes, now I remember what I was going to say. The Stalker Pattern Bolter Rifle was even though I gave you guys Distinguish anyway, I allowed it because there are the starting kits for certain specialties don't always line up with like Distinguish. Like for instance, as a librarian, regardless of if I gave you the renown bump, Dallas's character is going to be able to pick up a force weapon, which normally requires Distinguish. So I was like,
oh okay,
yeah, you're trading for something that's like it's technically above the like normal starting grade, but it is very specialized, and it's like it does have limitations. I'm pretty sure the Stalker pattern is single or semi only.
No, it's single only.
Is single only? Yeah. So like that's not very good for hordes, but he is really good for elites and masters.
Yeah, if we got hordes, I'm gonna have to default to my fucking bolt pistol
or huck grenades if they're that close. I know you don't want to be that close, but you listen. Tactical situations, you never know what'll happen. Maybe you have to defend a static point, and the orc menace will be pouring over the walls.
This is why I have tactics defensive.
Dramatically draw your bolt pistol and just start plugging them.
I will say, that fucking scene in Space Marine 2, where it's all the Ultramarines before the web cause, you fucking lift the chapter banner and they all just fall in and just focus fire. Oh, that was such a good moment. I love it so much.
No, Space Marine 2 is a really good game at capturing the vibes of 40K. Like, yeah, Titus has his own kind of like flaws and character stuff to go through, and so do the other supporting characters. But it's really just like, you are big space boy. You must defeat alien, fight weird bug, fight weird meat man, like, and just do stuff. And like, Titus is a great character for that because like, he's not like flat, but he is a classical type of Space Marine and Ultramarine where he is like, he's not completely by the book, right? But like, his faith in the Emperor and the Primarch and the Chapter Master are resolute. Chaos can't touch that boy. He's too shiny. And he will do dumbass stuff for it, but that's where it lives. Like, the amount of art of like covers of codexes of rulebooks, right, which is Space Marines in a heroic last stand, uncountable. There's so many of them. Like, they love to just put like, 6 or 10 Space Marines in an unwinnable, last stand against hordes of enemies. It's all over the place. Usually they're hitting a sick pose too. And like, that's kind of what we're gonna go for. Like, you guys are gonna be a little more strategic than that, but I bet there will be times where you guys will be holding the line, and we're gonna see how well you hold out.
I'm excited.
I get to throw some weird shit at you.
Alrighty. But, I think
we're
that's
just shy
it.
of 5 hours, so I think that's a good point to wrap up.
Yeah, let's wrap up.
Alright. Lucky's gotta go play Pragmata. I gotta go edit this
I do.
And probably get to bed so I can get up tomorrow and, like, either play some more Marathon or some more E33 and queue up our next film. I think we're gonna go ahead with our other alternate and do The Thing. John Carpenter's The Thing. And then probably pick some next ones off our list. I'm not sure what direction we'll go in, but we'll figure it out. So, if you're watching this on YouTube and you're liking it, give us a like. Be sure to leave your comments down below or join our Discord. On Discord, you can also join our movie nights and our other discussions. Like I said, be sure to leave your comments about, what collabs you thought were cool and other stuff you've got your own thoughts out there. Don't forget to be subscribing to the channel if you're new, ringing the bell for notifications. Consider dropping us a channel membership for support. And consider supporting us on Patreon. You can get access to the audio early, as well as $1 a month, or about $10 a year. At higher levels, you can access polls like Fanservant Friday. The next poll is still ongoing for probably another week or so. Towards the end of the month, depending on the days. And we have other polls as well, and you can get access to videos early. And listen to the podcast get recorded live. And at our highest levels, get a shout-out like Adam Hart, Black Stogie, Call Me Zed, Carlos, Dragon, JDV9000, Rise of Kenji, Roraman, and Shavor. Thank you very much all of our patrons and all of our listeners. And we'll see you next week for more Let's Tech FGO. Keep your eyes and ears peeled for more actual plays. And, of course, our regular stream series. The current slate is Okami on Monday, Fail Betrayal on Tuesday, Final Fantasy XIV on Wednesday. And, I don't think there's anything else out there. So, we'll be hearing from you and seeing you later. Good night, everybody. And, sorry, I almost said, good luck, have fun. That's not correct. We'll see you next episode, everybody. Bye-bye now.
Bye-bye.